Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
'Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. There's still time. The AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CITR Radio 101.9 FM from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of beautiful British Columbia. I'm Michael McCall.
And I'm Zachary Mazenheimer.
And we're back with another packed week of podcasts. Yes, plural, because we're going to bring out 2 shows this week. So much to talk about as the Whitecaps get back on the pitch in competitive action. They'll be taking part on Wednesday in their first competitive game of the year, CONCACAF Champions Cup, down in Costa Rica. And then MLS is kicking off on Saturday at home to RSL. So we're going to talk a lot of Whitecaps in this show. The midweek show we're going to bring out is going to look at that Cartagines game and also bring you some chat as well. Some interviews that I've got lined up looking ahead to the MLS season, and a lot to get into in this show as well. Whitecaps, news of the week. We'll delve into all of that. We'll look at the new Whitecaps jersey, take an eye around some of the other jerseys in MLS, because nobody is as fashionable as us here on the show, and obviously people want to know what we think about that. And I haven't spoken to Zach about this. I'm very curious as to what he goes with about this. We're going to look ahead to the Cartagines game. We've got a feature interview with one of the newest Whitecaps, Aziel Jackson, and we're going to do our Canadian soccer A to Z, talk some general Canadian national team soccer stuff as well, and bring you all our usual fun and music interludes. And I always say, Zach, that this podcast is your 2 to 3 hour escape from all the bad things that's happening in the world. And I mean, it's been another horrible week. We won't get into it too much, but obviously our thoughts, everyone here at AFTN, goes to everyone affected by the horrible happenings out in Tumbler Ridge. You just don't expect these things to happen in Canada and BC, and when it does, it really hits home, and it's been heartbreaking watching everything that's happened there this week.
Yeah, I mean, this is tragic loss of life, and typically when we're talking about this is in the context of our neighbors to the south, and because they've had, I guess the best way to put it would be ongoing issues that are similar to this, and yeah, I agree with you. It's incredibly tragic and so sad.
And when you watch the news, just in general, this is why Caitlin doesn't like watching the news. It really affects her, and I know a lot of folk have been affected by the events this week, and it's hard not to be when you see the pictures. So this is our little escape. We get to talk about football, music, TV, whole load of nonsense as well. And hopefully, if you have had a tough week, this kind of helps a little bit for you.
Yeah, and on the upcoming match front, for those of you who are traveling to the game, just call them Cartago.
Cartagines is their name.
Yeah, but locally they're just called Cartago.
Yes, I know, but I'm going with Cartagines because I've just learned how to pronounce the because when I was looking it up, it says it's very much like the in Scotland when you were going lochs. So Cartagines. It rolls off your tongue. A few things do, but we won't get into the weeds really early. I'll also say straight off the bat, if things sound a little bit different for Zach, it sounds okay to me, but Zach's on a different microphone for the show this week because his computer is in for repairs. Too much dodgy Costa Rican football. I feel is the cause for that.
I don't watch football on my computer actually.
Oh, no. Do you know what? Because folk know that I watch a lot of weird leagues around the world, and I love watching the A League, and I've been watching that on YouTube, and the J League's on it now. Because I watch this, I get various recommendations. So I've subscribed to the Jamaican League you can watch free on YouTube, and now because of that, I've been getting recommendations for the St. Vincent and Grenadines Premier Division. So I've subscribed to that as well, and I've watched a little bit of that.
Vincey Heat?
To be in the afternoons.
Vincey Heat? What are you watching down there?
It's all on YouTube.
No, who?
Oh, who? Lots of strangely named teams I can't remember. It's fun.
Nice.
I wanted to talk a little bit about TV, actually, just to start off. There's two shows that I've been loving at the moment. One absolutely blitzed this week. If you've got a VPN and you access BBC's iPlayer, there's a 6-part... It's described as a sitcom, but it's not. It's a comedy drama on there just now. And it's called Small Profits. And I cannot recommend this show enough. It's a 6-part show about a man that grows... I won't say too much. He grows mystical beasts in his shed that can tell the future. It's really, really good.
Okay.
And there's a kind of Vancouver connection to the show, which again, I won't say what, but highly recommend that. Small Profits on iPlayer. But the other thing, and I think the answer to this is no, but did you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I've seen some of it.
Because there's the new spin-off from it that's on HBO at the moment, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Episode 5 was tonight. We're recording this on Sunday, the 15th. It is absolutely superb. And even if you're not a big Game of Thrones fan, or if you didn't like Game of Thrones because of a lot of the violence in it, although tonight's episode maybe is up in Game of Thrones territory, this series, I cannot recommend it enough. It is superb.
There is a Bayern podcast actually that I listen to that the guy does like once a week he'll be like, this is what I watched this week or whatever, and I have heard him talk about the series, and I think he didn't like the first 2 episodes, but he said it got better in 3 and 4.
Yeah, see, the first 10 minutes of episode 1, I was saying to Caitlin, not sure about this. It's just got so good. Episode 4, it's like there's a Last of Us episode that is just amazing. And episode 4 of this, I think, is like superb. So I cannot recommend that enough. Of course, we're not a TV review show, sadly. That might come later on. So we'll talk some football. And I wanted to pose the question to you, Zach. Is VAR ruining referees' abilities to actually officiate football properly?
Wait, you want to talk about Bob being taken down in the CCC again?
Yes. I mean, we disagree on that.
Yeah.
I think it's just a robust challenge, but it is a 50-50, and I could see it go either way. But did you see the non-penalty in the FA Cup game between Aston Villa and Newcastle?
Okay, so because you put it in the rundown, I did watch the highlights, but with no volume on. So is it for the handball or which?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
that was handball in the box.
Yeah, I'm sorry. In Germany, that's a penalty.
Anywhere in the world, that's a penalty. It's a handball in the box, not a free kick outside the box for handball.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
I mean, the first goal was offside, but there was no VAR, so it counted Villa's goal. But I mean, the guy's about 5 yards, 10 yards in the box. It's either not a penalty because it's not handball, or
is this the one that hit? Is this the one where he's on the ground and it hits his arm?
No, he jumps up.
Oh no, that one. Okay, yeah. I thought there was one earlier where the guy was on the ground, his arm
Yeah,
was kind of next to him.
yeah, there was another one as well.
Yeah, that one I thought could have been called too. To be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. It's, I mean, if I'm not a Newcastle fan, mainly because some of my friends were Sunderland fans, so they drilled into me they don't like Newcastle. My old boss, one of my old bosses, Colin, was also a Sunderland fan as well, and I did a fanzine, our work in the bank, and we did a cartoon strip for my boss because he was a Sunderland fan, so we called him Geordie Wanker. Because whenever anyone called him a Geordie, he was keen to point out, no, I'm a Mackem.
Hmm.
So we did this cartoon strip where people just were calling him a Geordie Wanker, and he was like, no, Mackem. Not disputing the wanker part.
Oh
I,
my.
that was our official magazine for our office.
Oh man.
So, I mean, I know you don't watch a lot of FA Cup, but I mean, you watched any football this weekend? Obviously, you were watching the VFC game on Wednesday, which I cover a little bit in part three, but you can give your thoughts on it just now if you want.
I watched it on Thursday because it was on Thursday.
Oh, I'm in the future. I watched it on Wednesday.
No, I
Won
watched
some good
that.
money when it was played on Thursday. I
Watched
hope you
that.
appreciate I didn't send you a message. What time is it? Because
Oh,
you
but
didn't do it to me when I was down there, so I was like, I'll be respectful.
I put it in the match report though
Yes,
in Spanish, right?
yes,
That was
I
okay,
like
right?
that.
That was okay, right?
Oh no, I was funny. I I do it in my I used to do it in my commentary a lot at UBC. The opposition managers didn't like it as much, but the home managers did. And they're like, no, I'll keep doing it. We don't care if they complain.
No, it was yeah. No, I watched that. I watched Bayern. I watched then I watched I watched Schalke away to Holstein Kiel. And you want to hear something crazy? So Schalke, I can't remember if I mentioned this on the show. Schalke in the transfer window acquired. I don't know if I think his contract was canceled or whatever, but he Aiden Dzeko from Bosnia Herzegovina, I
Oh,
believe. I believe he was at Fiorentina this year, and Fiorentina had a really rough start to the year. I personally, I don't think he did really great either. And from people I know who follow Fiorentina, they weren't crazy about him and were not sad to see him go. But he went to Schalke, and and Schalke he got there like top of the table in second Bundesliga, and he went there to play and try and get ready for the obviously the upcoming World Cup playoffs. And I think he had like I want to say like 3 goals and an assist in his first 3 games or something. Like his output was good, but in his first 3 matches for Schalke hadn't won, and they won. They won today against Holstein Kiel, 2-1 away to Kiel. And here's the crazy thing: it was Aiden Dzeko's first victory in club football in this season because Fiorentina didn't win the whole first half of the year, and then he left, and they won their first game after he
oh
left.
wow.
So between whatever August and February, he did not win a match of club football. But he got,
Jeez.
I think he got 2 assists today. So I think he's up to like maybe like 3 goals, 3 assists or something in four
Well,
games
see,
for them.
sometimes a change of environment works. As
Yeah.
we saw last year with Jaden and Emmanuel
Yes.
Sabi, and hopefully with Aziel Jackson that we're going to speak to in part two as well. And talking of Schalke, I sent you that thing this week. They've got established a link with Monterey Bay FC
Yes.
in the USL, which is quite interesting.
Well, it was interesting to me because that's the side I saw who beat Orange County in March.
Yeah, and it's
When
a place because I love the Monterey Bay area down in California and Pacific Grove and Carmel. So it's always a team I've kind of kept a lookout for. And Frank Yallop was their first coach as well. Yeah,
yes, he was. Yeah.
there are lots of Canadian connections.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I think Leverkusen has had stuff. Obviously, Bayern has had different ones, and currently is obviously connected to LAFC.
Mm.
There's been a number though. Bochum has a connection with Pacific, or did, and yeah, a number of German clubs are trying to whatever unearth North American talent or have connections to create pathways for up and coming North American talent. I mean, at Bayern. when they were connected to Dallas, that's how Chris Richards, made his jump to Europe, right? Was from Dallas to Bayern, from Bayern he went on to he's still at Crystal Palace, right? And been really, really a really great pathway for him. But you see lots of clubs, and so Schalke is taking a step, and hopefully it's meaningful for Monterey Bay and for Schalke in the long run. Like I can't remember, I didn't look at the table after today's game, but Schalke, if they don't get, they should be in one of those top 3 positions at the end of the year, and should be either automatically promoted to back to the Bundesliga or in that playoff spot, which they could very easily win. So,
well, East Fife had their first win of the year and led in a game which they held on to for the first time in 2 months, and we've actually now started to get players coming back. So hopefully that is going to help us. And at one point we were starting to look over our shoulder a little bit. But Hamilton Academicals have had, I think it's 21 points now deducted over the course of the season for 3 different things. So they're keeping us up. So that's a good thing. But we'll talk more football in a sec. We are going to bring you a sad moment now in the show. It's the final Hot Chocolate Boy of the year.
Hot chocolate boy, he's never had one. Hot chocolate bad one, hot chocolate boy.
Sadly, the 16th annual Vancouver Hot Chocolate Festival has come to an end, and so has this year's Hot Chocolate Boy, but we wrapped it up in style on Friday when we headed up to the River District, went to Becetto Dessert Cafe and had number 30 in the programme guide, their postcards from Belgium. It was a hot chocolate made with milk and semi-sweet Callebaut chocolate, topped with house-made toasted marshmallow cream, and they toast it right in front of you. It was topped with cookie butter and Biscoff cookie crumble, paired with a warm mini Liège waffle stuffed with mochi, topped with Biscoff cookie crumble and caramel. And as you can tell from that description, it was absolutely delicious. Really, really enjoyed this one. We saved one of the best ones to the end. We'd wanted to get up there for the whole festival, but because they were one that was open late at night, we kept thinking, we'll maybe go like during the week after work one day. But then you know what it's like. You get home, you have your dinner, you're sitting on the couch, and then you can't be arsed moving. So we never got out, but we were both off on Friday, so got a chance to head out there. Wanted to go to Becetto for a while, and it's been a few months, many months I think by the looks of it, that we had been up at the River District, and that whole place has changed so well. It looks really good up there, and there's a few places that we would like to check out. But that was our 6th and final hot chocolate that we had at this year's festival. 3, I think, less than last year, maybe 4. I think we did 9 last year, but we did less this year, partly for monetary reasons and partly for blood sugar level reasons, I think, as well. But now that the festival is wrapped up, let's end with picking some award winners for me. And I'm going to go first of all with what I felt was the best hot chocolate. Now, my runner-up in this was the spicy cayenne one that I had at Gem Chocolates. It was absolutely delicious, and I loved the spice element. But I'm going to go with the Grand Flame, the Grand Marnier hot chocolate that we went to at Onda Cafe in Olympic Village. That was just so good. And even though it wasn't how it had initially been described in the programme, set on fire and everything, as I mentioned in the last show, didn't feel it needed that, and really enjoyed it. I thought that was an excellent hot chocolate. My favourite treat that I had from the 6 that we went to was the s'mores cookie at Union Market. Tremendous. And as I mentioned, they're thinking about maybe putting it on the menu full time. Highly recommend that they do. And if they do, get out there and check it out. It was such a good treat. And if I'm going to go with a combo, what I feel was the best hot chocolate and treat combination, like everything we went to was good this year. But I'm going to go with Bachetto. I thought the two of those together just worked so well. They were both delicious. And it was kind of a decadent treat. It was $12.50. Never mentioned that in the review, but it was worth every penny. And yeah, now we've got 11 months to try and eat healthy until the 2027 Hot Chocolate Boy gets underway.
Every girl yelling, wanting him to be the terror. Hot chocolate boy, he's a sensation. Hot chocolate nation, hot chocolate boy.
So much hot chocolate in my veins, but not as much as last year, as I talked about there, Zach. Partly monetary, but also blood sugar level, because we had some really sweet treats. You seem to like the one I put out on Friday. That was delicious.
It looked so good.
Oh,
it looked, yeah,
it was
scrumptious.
Amazing. Thanks to everyone, as always, that tagged me in all of their ones. It was great to see them. And I love that a lot of you were using Hot Chocolate Boy music on Instagram as well for your posts. So that was nice. We'll be back next year with Hot Chocolate Boy, hopefully. We'll see how my physical goes in April. But let's get into talking more football and Whitecaps news of the week. The Whitecaps arrived back in Vancouver on Wednesday from Marbella, saw their loved ones for a quick cup of coffee, maybe some Costa Rican coffee to get them in the mood for their next lot of travels. Then they headed off to Houston on Saturday. Flight was delayed. They get to Houston. It's thunderstorms. They've not been lucky with the weather. So they're getting ready now to take on Cartagines on Wednesday in CONCACAF Champions Cup action in Cartago, San Jose. We'll talk about that game a bit in part 3 and hear some thoughts from Jesper Sorensen on it. But the other big news this week, Zach, was the new Whitecaps kit, the Coastal kit. And I'll be honest, I had a sneak preview of it from somebody, and I wasn't a huge fan of it because it's a bit too plain and bland for me. And we're going to talk kits in this part. And obviously, what I look for in a kit is very different to what other people look for in a kit. Now, people that have it or have seen it say it's actually a lot nicer in person. I'm not a big fan of the collar and the cuff designs. Other folk are loving that. And what do I know? Because it's flying off the shelves. People are loving it. And I mean, just look at me. I'm not the height of style or fashion. Most of my wardrobe is still band t-shirts from the 1990s. And that's B-A-N-D, just to stress. I do have a few B-A-N-N-E-D ones as well, but mostly B-A-N-D. I was telling you about one of them before.
Yeah, yes, you were.
I should dig out that Parkinson's t-shirt.
Oh, my goodness.
Google that if you want.
Yeah. If you want to just talk about the Whitecaps kit first?
Yeah.
Okay, before we talk about flying off the shelves. So I kind of agree with you, and I will say it is. I mean, this often happens. I don't know always, but it often happens that you see the renders or you see the initial things that they put out, and then you see like someone who's bought it at the store wearing it, and you're like, for me, it's always like the shade is always different. The shade of blue or whatever is always feels a little bit different. I have to say, I agree with you about the arms and the collar. See, I originally messaged you, I said, "Oh, it's a pretty solid kit," and then you said that, and I was just like, looked at it closer, and I was like, "Yeah." And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me right now, Bayern Munich's third kit or their Champions League kit is a similar thing, where I actually like the kit itself, but the sleeve collar or around the edge of the arm and the collar on the neck, I do not like. And the Bayern one actually more reminds me the pattern or whatever is more to me a little bit more reminiscent of the Whitecaps kit from last year, or was last year the Juneteenth kit they did?
I think they all do a Juneteenth kit now. They did a Black History Month kit.
That's the one, the Black History. Sorry, that they wore in the Champions League, right?
Yes.
Yes, sorry, that's the one. The Bayern edges were on any of that. Where just
Yes.
the contrast, it just throws me off. In the Whitecaps one, the colors and the styling doesn't throw me off, but there's still a bit of dissonance or something between the two that I don't. I put it kind of in the middle of the pack for the league.
I mean, I don't
I know,
hate it.
and I think it looks nice. It looks, I don't know what nicer in person, but I like the pictures I've seen of people wearing it, and I think it'll do well and stuff. Mike, I do want to ask you a question though about the it flying off the shelf thing. Is this? I mean, it could be all three things, I guess, but is this simply the Whitecaps' amazing season last year, and Thomas, having a bigger name person like a player like Thomas Muller? Is this just they've increased because of that? They've increased the fan base, therefore there's just more people interested in general. Oh, and I guess lastly, is there any connection do you feel between this and people having concern over the state of the club, the future of the club? So they're like, I want to get this while it's here.
There might be a little bit of that last point, but I don't know how much. I think the first two, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And part of the issue was last year, when Thomas Muller comes, there's not enough kits. And we'll talk a little bit about that just now, because a lot of folk won't know this, but the MLS clubs have to put their orders into Adidas about 9 months beforehand as to how much stock that they want. Now, when you then sign a global superstar like Thomas Muller, all of a sudden there's a bigger demand for kits than you kind of were expecting. And the turnaround time is not great to get them. An example of that is the Whitecaps have also put in to have more of the home kit, the white hoop kit. Now, normally, when it's the second year of a kit, they don't really put in a big order because they know most folks already bought it in the year that's come out. But because so many folk want that white kit and they want to have the Muller kits as well, they've put in an increased order for the home kit. But that's not probably going to arrive until maybe April or May, again, because of the timelines and the production costs. So that is why I saw a lot of folk criticising them when they were saying about, oh, you could have had a lot more money if you had sold more kits last year. And they know that. They know they could have had a lot more money. It just was not possible for them to get the kits.
It's been a while, but I mean, we have known that there is this huge lead up time. Like, it's not the deal with Adidas for MLS clubs. It seems for some, it's maybe less of an issue, I guess, but it has its pros and cons, right? And one of them is, this lead time. I think it was it the CPL too? I used to hear these stories of the massive, 10, 12-month lead up in terms of the design itself. Like, you have to have your design in like so early to get it actually made and ready and all that kind of stuff. One of the interesting things is, and you and I were kind of talking about this, I don't remember last year LAFC saying, hey, we can't get any more Sun kits.
Yeah. So I don't know if they were, I mean, maybe they do sell a lot of kits. So maybe they had already got big orders in and they happened to have enough. But I wouldn't have imagined they would have had enough for the demand from the Korean fans to get them. And I'd seen complaints as well last year that the international fans just couldn't get hold of the Whitecaps kits. Initially, when it was launched, they weren't able to, but within 24 hours, there's an international store now as well. Someone messaged me and said there's actually a better selection of Whitecaps gear on the international store than in the Canadian one.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I guess the production is coming from different parts of the world probably as well, which maybe helps. But the big question in all of this, and it's one that I can't get an answer to because obviously the Whitecaps are not going to tell us this. We don't know how much money they make on the kits. Now, my understanding, and I'm sure the Whitecaps will correct me if I'm wrong here, is they make more money from the kits that they sell in their Gastown store than from the online store. And likewise, I think BC Place were taking a cut from merchandise that was sold in the stadium, which is why sometimes things were a little bit more expensive in the stadium than you could get them elsewhere. But I don't think the Whitecaps and the other MLS clubs are making a huge packet and a huge profit on these kits. But someone is, because we talked about this, like the markup on these kits is huge. Because you know what, you can just go and buy a general Adidas or any brand kit from the catalogue. And you know that they're getting made cheap in various parts of the world by the fact of all the knockoff ones that's on all the Chinese sites and various things like that. But also what other clubs are selling them for elsewhere in the world. So I'm used to UK shirt prices. And then you look at these ones, and I mean, I think North American prices are obscene. Right now, if you want to get a Thomas Muller authentic jersey for the new Coastal kit, it's $220. And they're all sold out apart from extra large from the first batch. The replica jersey is $184. And the difference, there's a few differences, but the main difference, apart from like the branding on the sleeves, is the replica jersey doesn't have the trim, but it does have the sleeve design. And like when we're talking about the design on the sleeves and the neck, when I first seen it, it wasn't a clear picture, and it was hard to kind of fully make out what it was. I thought it was a tribal design, which it kind of maybe is capturing, but obviously it's the crest. But initially I thought it was a tribal design. And I don't hate it. I just feel it needed maybe a little bit more. A couple of people mocked up the jersey with like a wave design through it, and someone put a tribal design, a native art design through it, like the Pacific kit, and they looked tremendous. They were absolutely like excellent. I know the trendy word when folk are reviewing kits is, that's clean. I don't like a clean kit. I do like a pattern in the kit. It doesn't have to be an over the top pattern, but I do like something that just doesn't make it look like a t-shirt.
I can go either way on that. Like, yeah, I guess it depends on the design itself. Yeah, I feel like this Whitecaps kit does feel kind of plain in the middle, right? All the intricacy, if you will, is on those, the color of the sleeve or the color of the neck. But
I saw some people as well saying, I'm not paying to advertise Telus. It's like, that's how football strips work.
Yeah.
That's why you have jersey sponsors. Just be thankful it's not a Liga MX strip.
Well,
which I feel is going to come elsewhere in the world.
If people don't want to advertise Telus, there are still tons of those. I don't know if they're available anymore, but there were tons of those sponsorless Whitecap kits with the white hoop, right? Mm-hmm. that you could get, and yeah.
I know. I always meant to pick one up and then just put AFTN on the front. It's the closest we'll get to a shirt sponsorship deal.
I also do know that there are a ton of old Bell marked jerseys at different places, right? Because in some of the work that I do, it's like the Christmas Bureau in Abbotsford. I think it was for the last couple of years. They've had just like a whole bin of like literally probably hundreds of old Bell kits that they got donated, and it's hard for them. Yeah, I know that some of those I think have been given to people who go overseas to do different things, and they've taken them with them to distribute, because then you're not hindering the local market in terms of sales and all that kind of stuff, or exposure of an old sponsor or whatever.
I'm still looking for the brown Arbutus kit in medium. We'd accept a large that's in decent condition. I almost bought one on eBay, but it had a couple of little imperfections that annoyed me, and then I didn't, and I hemmed and hawed over it. And then when I was like, screw it, I'm just going to get it, it had gone.
Well, if you get fat, I have two.
Oh, I'm not sure that will happen. Chocolate Festival's done now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
If you'd told me before, I'd have gone to more than 6. But like, who cares what I think about the Coastal kit? It's doing well. The club's had their biggest opening day launch for a jersey in their history, and a lot of that is the Thomas Muller effect. And it's just great to see. It's great to see the interest in the club after the good year. And the good year's helped. The Thomas Muller thing has helped. And there will be an extent that folk are wanting to support the club and give them money. And we talked about, Axel Schuster spoken about the 25 to 30 steps that the club are needing on top of the BC Place deal. And we've got this. There was the announced season ticket increases. There's an extra 3,300 season ticket members this year. That's all great. That's two of the steps. And I put out a little jokey pedometer. It's 2 steps from 25 to 30. But it's good. It's showing the interest is there. Now they need to try and get some of this corporate money in to build on that as well. But another element of that, we'll get back to the kits in a sec, is ticket prices. And we didn't fully delve in that last week when we were talking about various things. But a lot of people have said, well, why don't they put the ticket prices up? And the club know that. And they know that they can make more money if they increase the tickets even by a $5. But what they're trying to do just now is to make the club the go-to marketable option, particularly for families. Like if you're taking a family of 4, it's an affordable option. I think like various elements of the tickets have gone up in the last couple of years, but I think there is definitely scope that you could raise it. Would a family of 4 pay an extra $20? I think they probably would, but I think that is something that is on the cards.
It's interesting because in these conversations around the future of the club, you've seen many people say, oh, I'd be willing to chip in more or whatever. But in general, I don't know the impact of it. I mean, the jerseys, have you seen people complain about the price of the jersey? I know you were just talking about that a moment ago, but seeing some people be like, oh, I'll never pay this for a jersey and, whatever. So I see the conundrum they have. It's a mixed bag because you will have some people that be like, yeah, that's no problem. But you will have you will have some who will be the exact opposite. Yeah. And I don't know what those percentages are and how much it's worth them trying to do that in this particular moment when they're trying to figure out what are the other small steps that they can take to get to that 30 mark.
Yeah. I mean, just going back to the jersey prices, I do not own an item of clothing that is near $220. I bought a new winter jacket back in November. And it's a designer jacket. It was from Winners, from an actual Canadian tailor. Market price $595, and I got it for $149 in Winners. I would never pay anything that is that price for clothing because it can get damaged, and I've never really been into designer stuff. So to pay that for a jersey for me is crazy. It hasn't put folk off, and yeah. Good luck to the Whitecaps. And like I say, it's great to see the interest is there and that the demand is high. But of course, it wasn't just the Whitecaps that released their new jerseys for 2026 this week. All the MLS clubs did. So to round off this part, we're going to do our MLS jerseys Flash 5.
Flash 5. Rank it, baby. 5-1.
Yes, our MLS jerseys, Flash 5, our top 5 and our bottom 5 jerseys for the year. There's not a lot to pick between a lot of the jerseys this year. I don't think, like, a lot of them are just kind of like in the middle of the pack. I genuinely found it hard to kind of rank some of them because some of the ones I've got in my bottom 5 aren't necessarily bad jerseys, but there's ones that I like a little bit better. And some of the ones in the top ones don't necessarily jump out as all-time kind of winners. I just think there's it's a bit much of a muchness.
Yeah, I agree. Like it feels there's not a lot of huge highs and not a lot of huge lows in it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
But to me, there's one that stands out as the real winner when it comes to the Biggest Loser.
See, I'm looking forward to hearing this because we haven't discussed
No,
this.
we haven't talked about this at all.
And I think we come at kits very differently. Like, I don't like plain designs. I don't like stripes. East 5 playing stripes. So always been a difficult thing for me as a traditionalist as well. Hoops, I don't mind. I kind of put it out there a little bit onto social media. So before we get into ours, I'll just kind of go through a couple of the messages. Rick Rolleman says Philly's jersey is spectacular. It's the absolute top of the heap for him with all the City references. The One Wolf, Mitch Williams, says that they're all pretty decent. Chicago Fire seems not great, but the rest are pretty good. Rick Halland says he thinks Atlanta, Dallas, Minnesota have the nicest jerseys. He can't say that he loves any of them. He doesn't mind the Whitecaps one. He prefers the hoop. He's hoping for an 86ers gold jersey at some point. I don't know if the one that we're getting after the World Cup 86ers is going to be the gold or if it's going to be the black and red design. Final Whistle says, for me personally, Montreal have the best new shirt. It's unreal. Second best is Atlanta, but the Whitecaps shirt is really nice too. And Brenton Walters, who loves his kits.
He does.
He says, the Revs and Red Bulls are both, holy shit, that's awful. The Orlando yellow gold swirl is nicer than it looks in online pictures. St. Louis gold looks like a close-up of a shampoo ad, but also works. He doesn't like the Austin or the Cincinnati ones. He says on the whole that they're all kind of mostly good. Chris Withers said that Dallas should never have gone away from the hoop. St. Louis gold is pretty interesting. He says, I don't see a holy shit, that's awful in the bunch. But he does think there's a lot of bland kits that's kind of relying on fiddly little details to pretend to be interesting. And I think that is a very good way of looking at some of these kits.
Interesting.
And Chad Rempel says, not going to list a favourite, but a big fan of iteration on classic team identities. So for me, hoops, vertical, horizontal stripes, sashes are my go-to. Not a fan of gradients or just singular solid colours. Redeeming factor on the Whitecaps kit are the small details, he says. So that's some of the listeners' thoughts. So, I don't know, let's get into ours. We'll start with the bottom ones.
Do you want to go for? I have a bottom, and then my other ones, I'm not sure the order.
All right, so we'll both list our bottom, and then we'll kind of go on. So nearly getting into the bottom five for me was Colorado, their colourful Colorado one. I had it in the bottom five initially, and then I put it out.
Wait, which one are you talking about? I was looking at the new kits on the MLS, like through the MLS site. Do they have two new kits?
No, they've got their colourful Colorado kit.
Is it? Oh, sorry,
that's
the
called.
Name. Yeah, okay. Okay.
The reason, like in the end, it slightly won me over because of some of the kind of little attributes or little embellishments that they had on it. But what I didn't like about it is there's like 8 different colours on the kit. I just felt it was too much. And if they dropped the red stripes on the shoulder, I think it would work a bit better. But it didn't make my bottom five. So I'll go with my 4 that didn't make my worst. And then we can both do our worsts. So my other 4. My 5th worst was Toronto's winter kit. I thought the colours are great together, but I don't like the 6 stripes down the front. It looks like tyre treads and they've been run over, which is maybe apt considering some of their performances in recent years. Maybe that is the look that they're going for.
Oh, Michael.
But the graphics on the back, the 4 designs, it looks like a little kid has like done it on MS Paint. I just think they're terrible. 4th worst kit for me was Columbus Crew, Crafted for Excellent kit, it's called. Some will say it's clean and crisp, but for me that makes it boring. I don't think there's anything to it. I also don't like the neck, and there's a couple that's got this neck design. Chicago have it as well. It's kind of like a little up and down band. Nashville's yellow one is also poor, and it nearly made my bottom 5, but the reverb design kind of kept it out for me. My 3rd worst is LA Galaxy's Velocity kit. And I know it's their classic sash, and I know that's what Chad just said that he likes, but as a non-fan, it isn't for me. I think a normal sash design might have made it middle of the pack, but to my eyes, it looks off. And there's a not joining of the yellow lines either side of the sponsor. That drives me nuts, which maybe means I'm on the spectrum a little bit because I just look at that and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's really bothering me. And my second worst kit is Inter Miami's, the Presagio kit, because it just looks like a training top. And it feels like very little effort went into it because they're like, yeah, we can do whatever we want with this. It's going to sell shitloads anyway. But they've got such a great colour combo that I just think they could have done more. So that was my 5, 4, 3, and 2 in my bottom 5. And I'll save my worst to the end. And we'll see what yours is. So who didn't make your worst, but who's in your bottom 5?
Okay. I have notable mention. For the one notable mention on the bottom here, I have Minnesota. I didn't really enjoy it. I don't know. Also, my bottom, I have. So some of these are mentioned as I think some people like these, but
yeah, I'm so curious to see if any of these have made my top 5.
So I do. It's just the colors. I don't know. I don't like the Atlanta kit. The design I think is fine, but the actual colors and whatever, I just don't like it. Yeah, I don't like Cincinnati's. Again, that's partly colors for me. I don't like St. Louis's Tina Turner kit. Is there also I didn't read. What is is there a connection between St. Louis and Tina Turner?
I guess they're wanting to be simply the best.
Well, there's a few musical ones in this, right? But,
yeah, and although I collect musical jerseys, thankfully it's just bands that sponsor it, and not any random jersey that they're trying to have some musical connection with, because I'd be bankrupt at this rate.
Yeah. And then next is I do not like San Diego's. And do you want me to tell you the one that to me is the most hideous of them all?
In a sec.
Okay.
I will just say one of the ones you've mentioned is in my top 5. Okay, so who is your worst kit? Who's the most hideous?
It has to be that Houston Dynamo kit. I can't remember the name now.
Oh, now. Yes. Now.
I'm going to look up the name right now.
This is interesting because I put this out.
It's Mission Control.
Yes. And it should be sent to space.
Yeah, like, it's terrible. I'm sorry.
I like the colours of it, which is what kept it out of my bottom 5.
No, I'm sorry. It's hideous.
It's close to my bottom 5.
Hideous.
Now, when it was leaked, I put it out there saying, everyone else sees the giant penis on the front of this, don't they?
Sorry, what now?
Yeah, I know. So this seems to be like, you know how folk were like, oh, is it a blue dress? Is it a gold dress? To me, it's like, do you see a penis? Do you not see a penis? And several people see a penis. I won't say who she is, but a friend of the show said, I do now.
Are you talking about like below the sponsor?
Yeah. I just see like
that's some serious
a circumcised penis.
That's some seriously misshaped.
I didn't say it was a perfect penis like mine, but I showed it to Caitlin, the jersey, not my penis. We've been married 24 years. She doesn't need to see that more than. But,
oh my!
She didn't see it. I had some American guy going. I think he was a Houston fan going. We don't all think of cocks all day long like you. But yeah, I see a penis on it.
Okay.
Now, when I looked on the MLS website, I didn't see it as much. I think the tablets have helped. But yes, when I first saw it, I thought it was hideous. But the kind of... I don't get the mission control aspect of it. Is it meant to be like a nebula?
No idea.
Yeah, it was close to making my bottom 5.
It's ugly.
Yes.
And it's too bad because Matty Bogusz will be wearing that this year.
Yes. My bottom one was one that you had in your bottom 5, which was San Diego's.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. That's my second worst. That I would put second worst.
It's called the Unprecedented Unity Kit.
What? These names are so bad as well.
I mean, it's unprecedented and it's hideous. I mean,
it looks like they're getting like electrocuted.
Yes.
But then they put the design and then it wasn't dry and someone smeared all the lines.
Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like.
Kirk's laughing at it right now.
I genuinely think it could be a Marmite kit. That some folk are going to love it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And some folk are going to hate it. And I don't like Marmite, so I don't like this kit.
I do like the badge. The badge on the kit is nice.
Yes.
The direct TV is fine.
Yeah.
But the rest is there.
See, the orange and the blue design, it reminds me of something, and I can't put my finger on it, but I can't get out of my head that it reminds me of some kind of kitchen counter marble that I've seen in some house or in some showroom.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it does look like someone's been electrocuted or someone's drawn a design and then it's got smudged in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me, but I'm sure they'll sell loads because San Diego's a big market.
Yeah.
So in the best, I did say...
Can we do middle first? Can we do some mid?
Well, I've no mid ones. So if you want to talk some mid ones, sure.
I put all the Canadian teams in the mid. I didn't hate Toronto's. I think Toronto looks good. I think it'll sell well for them.
Oh yeah,
and it looks
it
nice.
Kind of pops colors. I don't like the tire trades.
Yeah.
I know that it's like the 6 boroughs or something.
Yeah,
York's beat them to that. Are they going to be called Toronto 6 now?
Well, the 6, yeah, that works. But no, I put Vancouver's, Toronto's, and the Impacts as well.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of folk love Montreal's. I don't like it just looks a bit too digitally.
Yeah, they've had better ones in the past, and their old kind of almost, Atalanta, Inter Milan, black and blue stripe, vertical stripes. I think those are going to be hard to beat, and I probably think back to them. Those are kind of middle. I also in the middle I had the Salt Lake and the Dallas kits. I think the Salt Lake one is better than the Dallas one, but I think both those were not too bad. And then kits that I can't like because I can't stand their teams. But
that's why I'm surprised this one wasn't in your bottom.
No, the Deadpool one, which I hate Deadpool, but I actually think it'll do well for them. I don't think it's that bad. I'm glad that what's his name didn't like it. Kit Nerd, Walters, Brendan Walters.
Yeah,
Brenton Walters didn't like it. That's good. And then the other one, which is also hard because I don't like them, is the Orlando City Thieves. I think the kit for them has something different, and the whatever the image was there in the kind of the sublimated image on the shirt.
We might be coming to that shortly.
Yeah. And then for me, out of my top 5, the other ones I have, and these ones could have been in, but there's some ones that have already been mentioned. I actually think I totally understand what you're saying about the Galaxy kit and your concerns, but I actually think for them it has that dissonance. I think makes it different than if you have 18 Sash Galaxy jerseys already. I think this one makes it a little bit different, and it has a cleanness to it as well, and classic. And I like the 96 for them on it. I think it'll sell well for them. I also don't mind the Miami kit, although I totally hear what you're saying. It's very plain and whatever. But again, I think it'll sell like crazy for them. But they have had black before, so maybe not crazy. And then one that I put in the middle here because I think someone said they thought it was awful too, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I like this. And actually, I haven't looked at it in person. I should maybe see if I can see a better picture of it in person. But the image, there it is. Let's see.
I've got them all up here as well.
Yeah, I still don't know. I don't know if it's amazing or horrible. Is the Revolution kit?
Yeah, with the fireworks. I'm with you in that. I've seen it and I thought, oh, that's cool. And I've seen it. I was like, oh, I don't know that I do like it.
Yeah.
But we haven't mentioned San Jose's Grateful Dead psychedelic kit.
That's my number 6.
I'm not sure about it. I think that's one I need to see in person.
It's tie-dye, right? Like I think
tie-dye, that's the phrase I was looking for.
It's tie-dye. I think it'll sell well for them. I think the Grateful Dead part will add to it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I need to see some humans wearing it. I think I've only ever seen like mock-ups and then like just the jersey by itself. But I think it'll sell well. And I don't know how many deadheads there are in the Bay Area, but I think it'll do pretty good for them.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the actually before we get to the best, I'll do one hat tip that didn't quite make my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I had it in, and then I took it out. Also with this kit as well. Just outside is Portland Timbers Civic Stadium kit.
Oh, that's in my top 5.
See, I had it at 4, then I had it at 5, and now I've got it at 6. It's celebrating the 100th anniversary of Providence Park, which was opened in 1926 as the Multnomah Civic Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be down in it in a couple of weeks' time. There's a badge on the jersey for the stadium, which I like that. And it's got the stadium address on the back, which I think was a nice touch. The arches are nice, but I think they've overdone them. And I think that's just what dropped it out. But I love the colour scheme. I just think the mix of those colours, it really pops for me. And just talking about it now, I'm like, oh, maybe I should have had it in my top 5. Where did it feature in your top 5?
I will reveal that in a moment.
Okay.
I do want to say, Bank of America. Is that new this year for them? It is, right?
Yeah, because they had Tillamook before.
Well, I like that they've kept Tillamook. At least it's on the sleeve. If you're gonna,
Tillamook were never meant to be their jersey sponsor, but then there was some scandal with whoever their jersey sponsors were.
I love
Tillamook stepped in.
We've talked about it on the show before. We won't talk about it again. I loved it last year for them as a sponsor. I thought it was great, and the fact that they haven't lost it because they are doing sleeve stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's good.
It opens it up now. They can sponsor our show.
Yeah.
You don't have to give us money. Just send cheese up.
Just send cheese for the love of the cheese.
I read an article this week that if you eat 50 grams of cheese a day, it helps with dementia in future years.
Well, then I'm never getting dementia.
Yeah,
because I
might do the same. I don't know exactly what 50 grams is. I'm sure it's a whole packet. I had some pizza today, so that probably qualifies for my cheese content. So let's get into our top 5s then. We'll go 5 for each. So I'll give you my 5th first of all, and it's one that hasn't been mentioned so far by either of us. So it might be in your top 5. Austin, their rooted kit.
That is my 5th.
Oh,
I really like it. It's one that it's too light that it's going to get mustard or ketchup or hot or beer or something on it.
Yes.
Or from celebrations is going to get ruined. But I like how the logo looks. There's no circle around the logo.
Oh, the tree logo that they have is like tremendous. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, a tree logo. Well, I don't know. There's one story there. Maybe we'll tell another time. But yeah, a tree logo is a good thing. I like how it's done it. I like the contrasts. I think it is kind of simple. I think I still don't fully. I can't remember. Someone's told me what Yeti is, but it looks good.
They do those drink containers.
Sure, whatever. It's a good kit.
I love it. I love the color scheme and the badge, and I think that's the two things that won it over for me. Because, as I said, I don't like stripes, but this is a striped jersey I like because it's subtle. But I think the colors are excellent. But yeah, it's going to be a hard one to keep clean. So, who was your number 4?
Oh, I'm going back to
because I know our 4s are not the same because you didn't like my number 4.
Number 4, I have. It was mentioned from friends online. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia one.
Oh, now I've got that second.
Yeah, it's a bit busy and stuff, but I like the history. I like all that kind of connection and stuff. Yeah, I'm going to Philadelphia number 4.
I actually had it as my number 1, and I've gone back and forth with it because I think it might just be slightly too busy to have it as my number 1.
That's why it's a little bit further down.
Yeah,
if it was
their 1776 kit for America's 250th anniversary. There's a couple of teams making nods to that as well. So, some will say there's too much design going on, and arguably it is. But it's such an interesting kit to just stop and look at and just read. Hey, can you just stop there, please, sir, so I can read your jersey? Yeah, it's so different. That's what I like about it.
One of the fun things about going to the maiden MLS away Whitecaps game in Philadelphia was we had time to go and check out Philadelphia. So having been to some of these places, where the Liberty Bell is and all these different places, it was really, really, really cool. This is not on there, but the Rocky Steps. There's all these cool things to do in Philadelphia, and I like it. I like it a lot for them, and I think it'll do relatively well for them in terms of sales.
Oh yeah. Well, my number 4 was one that you weren't a big fan of, which was Atlanta and their Spirit of '96 kit. Now, like Austin, it's the color scheme that sold me with this. And you said you hated the colour scheme. I love it.
Okay, well,
It
I'm
absolutely pops the gold and the green for me.
Okay, I was gonna say, is that teal? Like, I'm colorblind. Is that teal? Is it some shade of green? Like,
Well, it's gold and green.
Gold and green? Yeah.
Yeah.
For Atlanta, I don't know. I just don't like it. Like, I like
It's got a nice Olympic-y vibe as well, which I like. I think it looks like a classic. It's a jersey for me that would stand the test of time.
which is a connection to '96, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which is I was at those games. Okay.
And
Yeah.
So who's your third?
Let me go back to my list here. Third one. Oh, okay. My third is LAFC.
Oh.
I mean, I like most of their kits. I like most of their kits. I know it's a pattern. So you're either going to love the pattern or hate it. I don't know. I like it. I think, yeah, for them again, I think it'll sell really well.
It looks like it should be a maze that you can put a pen through and like find your way to the middle.
Yeah. And I like the fact that it's called the primary kit.
Yes. I've got to say, I did enjoy that because all these names and stuff, oh man, does your head in. At least the Whitecaps coastal kit's one word, it's short, but it's like unprecedented unity. I was like, have you seen the US just now? I'm not, but it's because it's trying to tie it in with them being so close to the Mexican border and a lot of fans coming over to support them and stuff. My number 3 was Orlando City. It's their sunken treasure kit, and it dives into Florida's storied coastline and the legend of the 1715 treasure fleet. The shipwrecks and sea explorations and pursuit of gold. And there's a couple of little adornment badges that I really, really like. One of them says, "The real treasure is the memories we make." And I like that tagline for football. I think that really is a nice tagline because genuinely, if you're going with friends, family, like your kids, the memories that you have at football are the things that you talk about for years to come. Mm-hmm. Like on my East 5 podcast, we'll talk about games from the 90s, and it's like football is one of those things that's the memories that bind people together. Like Christmas is a time of year that does that with people. Tying in a little bit with strange things and small profits that I mentioned to kick off the show. But yeah, Orlando's kit, I just really like it. My only criticism of the design is I think it could maybe stand out a little more. But apparently it does look better if you see it in person and you can see it a bit better. But from the photos, it maybe doesn't pop enough. But I really liked that. That was my number 3. Phillies was my number 2. So what was your number 2?
I've had this club high in other seasons when we've done this, but it pains me to say this, but it's the Evergreen State kit of the Seattle Flounders. I was looking at who we haven't mentioned. I was like, oh, he's gone with Seattle. Now, this one, in the replica, that collar is actually just white. Again, just kind of like the Whitecaps, the collar and the collar of the sleeve or whatever it's called, the cuff of the sleeve. This, I think, works better than what the Whitecaps have done on theirs. I don't like love it. But the overall kit, I think, is just Seattle has a lot of good kits. And I do not like I don't like grave green. Like I don't like the colors.
Sure.
I think it's a good kit.
Mr. Colorblind. I'm really curious who your top kit is then.
Oh, it's Portland.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot you had mentioned Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why you asked me where is Portland. I was like, I'll tell you that. Yeah, no, it's. I just think the sentiment.
Sentiment's great. The color, I genuinely think the colors are superb.
Okay, so what are the? What would you? Is it like a cream? What is that main color?
I would say it's kind of a yellowy.
Okay.
Maybe a yellowy green.
And is that what is the accent? Is that gray or green? Yeah. Okay. Okay. See, I am colorblind, but yeah, it works. I don't know. And the connection to the stadium, I think the arches work really well.
Like I said, I had it in my top 5, and I dropped it out just because I felt there was just too many arches in the end, and they were kind of like overlapping each other, and that kind of switched me off a little bit. But it's a good kit.
What's your number 1?
RSL.
Oh, okay, nice.
Now, the reason I went with RSL is it's the switchback kit.
Mm-hmm. With
So
the mountains.
yeah, so I mean, it's not just kits with big fancy designs that I go for. So I do go for some more subdued ones, but I like the colours and the hoops and the colours. It's another kit that, when I look at it, it just absolutely pops off the page to me. I just think it's a very striking kit. I'm just going to get it back up here just now. The mountain design though in the background is what pushed it to number one for me. It's subtle, but not too subtle that you can't see it. And I think it really stands out, and it pays tribute to the mountains that define Utah. And if anyone's been to their ground in Sandy, it's like surrounded by the Wasatch Mountain range.
Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
It's a really nice backdrop for a football stadium. One hopefully we'll be having up at the P&A in years to come.
For real. Kirk, when we started this conversation, Kirk walked up to me when you heard me mention Selleck, and he held up a picture of their kit from last year and just pointed to the table. Because I think it was last year they had the white and blue tablecloth kit.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, it wasn't a nice one last year.
So I think that's going to be their secondary this year.
It's just good in their badge, or the adornment of the badge at the bottom's got the mountain range on it, and it's got the line on the back. This still looks like it's the English Premier League badge, but aside from that, I like this, and I think it is the mountains that pops. But the blue, the red, and the gold goes together in a colour combination that I don't feel is too much. Like Colorado's, I felt was just way too many colours in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but that's our kit. So that's our thoughts on the Whitecaps kit. It's the thoughts on all of the MLS kits. Let us know if you agree or disagree if you haven't already, and let us know what your favourite kit is and what your least favourite kit is for 2026. Well, it's not going to be long until we're seeing all these kits on the pitch, and for the RSL one, probably going to be seeing it on the pitch in less than a week's time at BC Place when they come to town. We've got more Whitecaps chat to come over the next two parts, and we're going to bring you our feature interview in the next part with one of the newest Whitecaps, Aziel Jackson, and I expect to see him on the pitch against RSL, maybe against Cartagines as well, probably against Cartagines as well, and we'll be back chatting to him after the first of two songs this episode from our Artist of the Month.
Hi, I'm Jesper Sorensen, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
It's no good trying to place your hand where I can't see, because I understand that you're different from me. Yes, I can tell that you can't be what you pretend. And you're rocking backwards and you're rocking towards the red and yellow mane of a stallion horse. Trying to hold your love where I can't see, because I understand that you're different from me. Yes, I can tell that you can't be what you pretend. The caterpillar hood won't cover the head of you. Should be home in bed.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's the first of two songs this episode from our Artist of the Month for February, and it is The torture genius that was Syd Barrett. We're featuring his solo songs this month as opposed to his work with Pink Floyd. And the song you heard to kick off this part was the second track on Barrett's debut album, The Madcap Laughs. No Good Trying. A kind of fragmented stream of consciousness song. A lot of people feel that the song is a reflection on his own deteriorating mental state, the alienation that he felt, the frustration of others that are trying to understand and help him during all the breakdowns he had in the late 60s. Definitely one of the standout tracks on that debut album. And we'll be back with the first song from his second album to kick off the next part. But we'll get back to the football chat now. And it's time for this episode's feature interview. And it's another interview with one of the newest Whitecaps, 24-year-old attacking midfielder Aziel Jackson, the American, coming to the Whitecaps on loan till the end of June, signing from Polish side Jagiellonia Białystok. And Jackson comes to Vancouver with experience in MLS with Minnesota, St. Louis, Columbus Crew. Also earned a cap with the US national team back in 2024. And much like Jayden Nelson and Emmanuel Sabi's signings last year, it does feel that Jackson is another kind of reclamation player. His stats with St. Louis and with Columbus, as we talked about when the signing was rumoured, were good, not exceptional. His most prolific time was actually in MLS Next Pro with Minnesota United 2 back in 2022. But his play earned him that move over to the Ekstraklasa in Poland. 12 appearances overall, and that included in-league play, in cup play, but also experience on the European stage and Champions League and Conference League qualifiers. 12 appearances overall, just 1 assist on the year, and that came in the Conference League. And we'll talk to Aziel about a lot of things in a second, his career so far, but his time in Poland as well. His last league appearance for the side coming on the 18th of October. Featured on the bench a few times since, but didn't really seem in their plans at all from December. So I think the loan move certainly best for both parties, because if it works out for Aziel, can sign with the Whitecaps. They do have an option to buy. And as we talked about in a previous show, it's another great addition for the Whitecaps because you've got a highly motivated player that wants to show that his time in Poland was not really what he's about, and he's going to come to the Whitecaps with a little bit of a chip on the shoulder and a point to prove. So got a chance to speak to Aziel down in Houston on Sunday after Whitecaps training. So go stick the kettle on, grab your biscuit of choice and enjoy our chat with one of the newest Whitecaps, Aziel Jackson. So, thanks for joining us, AZ. Welcome to Vancouver. Welcome to the Whitecaps. How's life been for the last 2 weeks in the Whitecaps fold for you?
It's been good. Just adapting to the city and to the club. Really happy to be a part of the Whitecaps and be a part of the history.
Now, I know you've been to Vancouver before. I had a look at Transfer Market to see what games you'd played here, whether in MLS or MLS Next Pro. I mean, I spoke to Ollie about this when we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. When you're travelling to these away games, and I know everyone's chartering now and you're kind of often flying back the same night, do you get a time to explore the city before the game? Have you seen much of Vancouver?
I've seen just that with all the away games, but also my mother's side of the family's from Seattle, so it's close. I haven't really went down and saw everything about the city, but just driving around like in short amount of time, it's like so many different areas of the city that like it's like 10 cities in one big city, it feels like. So it's like 5 minutes I'm driving somewhere that looks completely different from where I just was, but it looks like a city within the city. So that's the cool thing about Vancouver is what I've seen so far. I mean, also, just all the trails and the trees. It's very like the scenery's incredible, and the people are very welcoming and helping, especially just being with the Whitecaps with a short amount of time. It's been an easy transition.
Yeah, I've never thought of this city that way before, but it's true. Like, I stay in East Van,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm right by the highway, but I'm also just 15 minutes from downtown. So you can get everywhere in about 15, 20 minutes, and it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
exactly.
And it is very much like Seattle, I guess. And I didn't know your mum was from Seattle, so that explains how you ended up at Crossfire for a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So I guess she'll be really excited that you're closer to home now.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely great.
So you're back in MLS now. You've been away for just over 6 months over in Poland. We'll talk about the Polish move in a little bit. But how did this move to Vancouver come about? Like, were you pushing for it just to get playing time? When did you know that the Whitecaps were interested in you?
I knew the Whitecaps were. It's funny just because all the times I played the Whitecaps in Next Pro or MLS, it was funny. There was one time my friend was like, "Yeah, I can see you playing the Whitecaps," like years ago. This was years ago. It was just funny, like, and there was a time I was here for 3 days visiting, and I was like, I really like. I can see myself living here. I can see myself living here. It was just funny how everything comes around. But during this move, just being in Poland, and there were some. My agent had some offers, for me in the MLS, and what really stroked me about Vancouver was not only the success and everything they've had, is just how the club's ran is very like pure, and how they reinvent players. More so, not even reinvent players, but getting the best out of them is was what I would say. It's definitely a place where players that are not really seen or valued as much in the public eye really flourish. And I saw it as an opportunity where I feel like I haven't really shown. People have seen like my ability, but I've wanted to take it to the next level. And I thought Vancouver is a great platform for me to do that at.
Yeah, and like we've seen it, like players like Sebastian, that's been here for years now, he's really started to come into his own and getting noticed with the national team last year. I think a lot of folk, and I don't know if this puts extra pressure on you, but a lot of folk look at what happened with Jaden Nelson, Emmanuel Sabi last year. Players from North America that's come back, and it's almost like a reclamation project. It's like they've had a move overseas. It hasn't quite went the way they maybe wanted, but now you're back. Do you feel pressure on you, that, especially with it being a loan deal, that you kind of have to hit the ground running, you have to impress right away?
Yeah, I don't feel the pressure. I just try to enjoy playing the game, and I just do the best I can for the team and for myself, as for sure, and put myself in a good situation, and go at it 100% and let things go, let them flow as they go. Like I'm very the type of person to let things be how they are, especially when you're going 110%. You're doing everything you need to do. Things will always work out in your favor. I don't want to focus on the future or the past. I'm just happy to be a part of Whitecaps and just give everything I can for the team.
When we spoke to Jaden when he came over last year in our first chat, I'd said to him, like, at the end of the year we have end of the year awards, and one of our awards has always been Hair of the Year. So I was saying to Jaden, oh, you've got that in the bag. I think you've got that in the bag this year.
Yeah, yeah.
As someone with no hair, it's like so envious. It's like fantastic. But it makes you stand out in the pitch. Like even just watching the Sparta Prague game, it's like you stand out so people will see you in that way. Now, you know the league. How important was it for you to come back to a league that you know as opposed to maybe going to another European league that you didn't know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, honestly, I didn't know what was going to happen. There was some clubs interested in Europe. There was clubs interested in MLS, and of course, Vancouver was one of however many. And honestly, I just wanted to feel like myself, where I can be like myself in a situation where that can put me in a good, the right situation, even down the line, because one move can help the next two, three. It could the transition into a player's career, is determined by what decisions they make. And honestly, I feel this decision, it was the right one, the perfect one for me, just because of where I've been in my career so far. But like with every decision I've made has helped me get to this point. So I'm pretty confident that it's gonna go great for the Whitecaps and myself.
Fourth club in MLS in your short career so far. I think a lot of folk will have remembered you at Columbus, but also St. Louis. Now, you were part of that amazing expansion season at St. Louis. What was that like to be a part of?
It was great to be a part of, just the new expansion team, just seeing that whole process with the MLS, when a new club comes to play, like just being a part of that group was special. And it was just great to see how we were able to flourish that year, in the first year, and also for me to get my first appearances in the MLS there as well was a blessing.
Were you surprised that you ended up going to Columbus the next year? Like, did that come out of the blue?
So when I was in Minnesota before, I was loaned to Next Pro, without knowing, and then I ended up doing what I had to do, and St. Louis picked me up, and they wanted to buy me from there. I accepted that. And then when St. Louis to Columbus happened, it was more so a trade. It was out of my control. But Columbus was one of the clubs that were keen to have me from my next pro year, and they wanted to take me from Minnesota. It was just Minnesota. Minnesota didn't want to do that deal. But yeah, I wasn't surprised I was heading to Columbus, just because of already the connection I had and how they wanted me before. But it was more so out of the blue. Like, I had no idea they were going to trade for me. It was a game. We had a away game in Dallas or St. Louis. We just played a game, and then we had a day off or 2 days off. And then on the second day off, they just told me, "Yeah, we traded you to Columbus." Out of my hands, out of my control. So that was it was a shock.
It's one of the things I hate about MLS. Like, I can't imagine how unsettling it is, especially folk that's got young families and things as well.
Yeah.
And it's something the Whitecaps have been really good at in recent years as well, in that they actually work with the player.
Yeah, exactly.
Because with Jaden, it was like, what club would you like to go to out of these? And not just suddenly overnight trade players away. We've done it in the past, but we've got a lot better now. Being able to now pick the Whitecaps, that must have been nice for you as well, that you've got to choose where, like to Poland and also to here, you've got to choose where the next stage of your career takes you.
Exactly. Yeah.
The move to Poland, I mean, of all the leagues in Europe, it seems a little bit random. How did that come about?
It was came from my agent. I was in my last year of my contract for Columbus. I had 6 months left on my deal, or 5 months left. and I wanted to move. I told Issa, the GM, the first day I was there in Columbus, like my goal was to be in Europe and to explore that opportunity down the line of my career. And I still want to do that. I feel like I haven't really made my mark in Europe yet at a league, at a top league, at a top club. That's still a goal of mine. I just needed the right system, the right fit for me to be able to be seen in that light. And it starts with what decision you make, like we said before. And the move to Poland was a move that they were playing in Europa Conference. They won the league before the year before. They made it to the semifinal of the Europa Conference League versus Betis in 2025. And I looked at it as an opportunity, like, look, this club is under the radar, but still playing European football, and where I could showcase myself to other clubs, and how they proposed things to us, to my agent, was that they wanted me to be that player for them to get them over the hump. It so happened it wasn't the case, and that's football sometimes, and it's okay. Everybody in their career goes through ups and downs, and it was just being able for me to stay focused and to stay mentally sharp for myself. Even with no minimal minutes I had there, I was still able to, dig myself out of that dirt and really just become a true professional. And honestly, like, tell yourself in those situations, all footballers across the world, like, look, like, accept the situation you're in, good and bad, but also try to stay balanced and equanimous, which means to stay like relaxed and settled and balanced, because things in football change so fast, and like people don't really realize how one situation could help your career so much that you never imagined, and one bad situation could hurt your mental capacity to be able to play football. So with that being said, just going to Poland, things not working out for me. It was just a good stepping stone to see what it was like, and to now come back to MLS and also be a part of Vancouver, where they've reinvented players, but also got the best out of them, like players that were here last year. I can see it being a great fit for me to really showcase what I can do and prove to myself that, I belong.
And you're a well-travelled man already in your fledgling footballing career. Aside from the move to Poland, you moved over to France when you were just 14 years old. Was that with or without your family? And I mean, how did both those experiences in France and Poland like kind of shape the person that you are now?
Yeah, I moved to France when I was 14, and I moved actually by myself. I didn't move with my family.
Oh,
I didn't move with my family to France now. There was a club called Toulouse that was interested in me from Red Bulls and Academy, and I went over there on the trial, and they really liked me, and I ended up staying. It was difficult because I was the first American to ever be at the club, and being an international was difficult, not having a European passport. So it made it a little difficult on the paperwork side. But I loved the club and I enjoyed playing for them, and they really loved me as well. It was difficult how I couldn't stay because of that.
mm-hmm.
But honestly, if I did have a European passport, I probably would still be there, or probably still be in Europe. I probably wouldn't have. I don't know if I would have played in MLS or not.
Yeah. As I say, it's where life takes you sometimes, and just the little things that happen. I think.
Yeah.
So when you were in Poland, like, how was the language barrier for you? Because I know a few Polish folk. There's a lot of Polish folk in Scotland, and it's so different a language. Like, did you learn a bit of Polish, or?
I was learning every day. I mean, I didn't set myself up with a class, but where I was in Białystok, it's very East Poland. It's almost in Belarus. We're like near
Oh,
Belarus, Ukraine. Like
oh
we're not,
wow. So you're right in the border.
yeah, we're like really close to the border where I was. And so there's not a lot of English, I'd say. There's some English speakers, sometimes you meet them, but they expect you to speak Polish. So, I mean, I was learning, me and my girlfriend were learning here and there, like picking up on things. Definitely all the greetings we got down and stuff, but yeah, it was to be honest, for me to adapt to a new situation is not too difficult. I pick up things pretty quickly, and I'm like a sponge. I just soak up all the things around me and utilize it the best way possible. So, yeah.
There's going to be some weird Canadianisms I'm sure you'll pick up then as well, because even I've done that. The lack of playing time there. I think, and again, if transfer market's right with this, you haven't played since mid-October. Do you feel that you're kind of at peak fitness to kind of come in and make an impact right away, or are you going to need a couple of weeks to kind of get up to speed a bit?
Yeah, no, I don't think I need to be up to speed. I'm pretty up to speed in terms of my fitness and mental wise, even though like I wasn't playing that much in Poland, like in training, I was, you know, getting the best out of myself just to mentally prepare myself because I knew that, the situation for myself wouldn't stay like that forever. So I just had to be, if I had to train outside of the facility, I would. I ordered my own balls because it wasn't allowed for me to train at the facility by myself. So
Oh
me,
wow.
my girlfriend and I, she would help me train and get the balls for me, and we would go out to a public field in Poland just to make sure I was sharp and stuff. And that's a great thing, just because it built a lot of more character to myself, but also just reminded me that football is it's more than all the theatrics and all the fame and all that stuff. It's like, why am I doing this? Because I want to be the best footballer I could be, and sometimes you got to do situations and step out of the box where people may question what you're doing. But, at the end of the day, you're doing this not for anyone else. I'm doing this because I love the game. And despite the fact that I haven't been a part of games in a minute, I was still mentally sharp anytime my name was called, and took advantage of any opportunity that was given to me. And that was the main focus. Just, okay, this is the situation. Let me still, tap into who I am as a player and a person, and things will work itself out.
I mean, I saw you were on the bench and you weren't getting brought on. Like, did they explain why you weren't in the plans, or is this just the best for both parties now that you kind of both now looking at a new direction?
Yeah, they didn't tell me anything. They didn't tell my agent anything.
Wow.
They didn't say nothing. It was very alarming. It was very concerning. It was very
Mm,
concerning for sure, because like I was one of very few internationals on the team. Everyone else was European. There was a Japanese player, and then everyone else was European. So, but like for me to come all the way over from the US to Poland to experience that was, it lit a fire in my stomach.
yeah.
Um, because it's like I didn't come all this way to do this. Like I didn't come all this way but you know what? It was in God's plan for me to experience that, because, it made me even that much more hungry,
Hmm.
and especially playing in MLS, knowing the league and stuff inside and out, it made me just like, that Polish experience gave me something that nobody will ever understand. Being first of all a black American playing
Yeah.
in eastern part of Europe is not common.
No, and I can imagine in some places it wouldn't be easy as well.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, just having that experience just gave me something, that will stay with me, even if it wasn't a great experience. It's an experience that will stay with me and something I can share. Especially I've already shared with some of my Vancouver teammates about like the culture and how different everything is and the football and all that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, over there, it's like compared to MLS, it's not the same. We don't get not the same treatment, not the same,
I
you
know.
know.
I've said that to other players. It's like the grass isn't always greener over there. It's like
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
you look at the Whitecaps facility, it's like one of the best facilities in MLS.
Yeah,
Other
there.
ones are now getting better because there's newer ones getting built. I'm glad you had at least your girlfriend to experience all that with as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Because if
yeah.
you were there on your own, that would have been tough.
Yeah, it would have been tough. I was very grateful
Yeah.
to have her there. It was it. I probably wouldn't be able to. I probably could be able to sustain it by myself, but I tell
You,
myself, but
yeah.
probably not.
You don't want to either.
Yeah, I don't. No.
No. So you played against the Whitecaps last year with Columbus. It was a good win for Columbus in that game. What did you make of the Whitecaps team last year? Obviously, we were flying. It was our best ever year in the league. But going up against it, seeing what Jesper's side is like. Obviously, there's some new pieces now. There's a Thomas Muller now that we didn't have before. What did you make when you saw that team last year? Did you imagine yourself, well, I can fit right into this team?
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't a. People wanted to say it was a surprise that Whitecaps were doing so well, but I didn't think so because I'm a student of the game, and I see. I love watching other teams and how they play, and just how they were was just it worked so well, and especially how free flowing they play, and also just the fact that they were animals when it came to scoring or offensively, defensively. Like it just everything clicked together, and I never thought when I was in Columbus I was going to play for Whitecaps next season, but here I am. And when I heard that Whitecaps was an option, something was telling me like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to play for the Whitecaps because it was just such a good fit for me, I feel.
Mm.
And especially like now just being with Jesper and the staff, the coaching staff, and hearing from Quinn how they see me was great to hear as well. Which I felt like they value who I am as a person and a player. And I want to just add to the already big success to the Vancouver Whitecaps, especially with last year being like one of the biggest seasons ever. I just want to still have that fire lit for them.
Last thing, fitting into the team. Now, I know you'll say wherever Jesper wants to play you, you're happy to play there. But looking at where you've played in the past and where you've had the most success, which has kind of been as a 10 or through the middle, even as a centre forward, where are you happiest playing? What can fans expect from Aziel Jackson this year?
Where do you think I fit? I feel like I can
Yeah,
fit. I think I could fit the best playing the wing, the left wing for sure. I'm right
that's good because
footed.
we need that right now.
I'm right footed, and I love playing the wing because I love going at players, but I also like setting up players, and I also like scoring myself. But already just playing with the guys on the team, it's like just some of the games we've played. I feel like it's clicking more and more and more. Just understanding everyone's game and them understanding what I like. And also just as the wing here, we can go inside and have the wing backs up and higher, or we can alternate and have the wing backs inside and me outside. And I love doing that because I love, running at players and also getting the ball into the box and scoring myself as well.
Well, can't wait to see you on the pitch, maybe as soon as Wednesday, hopefully as soon as Wednesday. You're known as AZ, but you're in Canada now, so are you going to change your name to AZ?
AZ, yeah. It's funny because Z is like how they say Z in like other languages. Like
Yes.
So it's fun. Yeah, like I would still say AZ because AZ is in the back of my jersey this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it would be nice just for AZ, but I don't mind people saying AZ once in a while. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy the rest of Houston. Have fun in Costa Rica, and we'll see you at BC Place next Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I
Cheers, man.
appreciate it.
Aziel Jackson there. Really interesting chat with him. I enjoyed that one. And another player that's experienced Europe, and as we talked about there, the grass isn't always greener over there. Sounds like a really tough time for him over in Poland. So this is a fresh start to show exactly what Aziel Jackson is all about. Like what he said as well about how Jesper and Quinn have already kind of sat down, explained to him where they see him fitting into this team, and he's enjoyed watching the Whitecaps last year. And it certainly sounds like we are going to see a player come in and make an impact the way that we saw with Jaden Nelson and Emmanuel Sabi last year. He's hungry, he's motivated. That's exactly what the Whitecaps need just now. He's got that versatility. He can play as an attacking midfielder, he can play as a left winger. And as you heard there, that is his preferred option, and where he enjoys attacking defenders. And right now, the Whitecaps need that with Ali Ahmed gone, Jaden Nelson gone, Ryan Gauld injured. So it looks like he's going to slot in pretty quickly. In his time with previous clubs, he's played all over the midfield and all over the front line as well. So it is going to give that flexibility to Jesper, especially with these injuries early on in the season. So we're going to hear a bit from Jesper Sorensen in the next part, but I want to play a bit just in this part. I asked Jesper about Aziel coming to the team, whether he's ready to go, because he hasn't played a competitive game since October. Did he need another pre-season? Did he come fully fit? How's he going to kind of fit into the team? Well, he feels he's up to speed and good to go. Here's what Jesper thought about that.
Aziel, yeah, he came in. Of course, he has been also through a preseason with the Aglionia. So he was not, it was not that he had to start over. Of course, it was a bit ago since he played a game, but he also needed the games he participated in, and we also had because we had to cancel one of the games down there, we had to play an inter-squad game that was actually quite beneficial for everybody. So I think that that game he also showed that he first and foremost needed a little bit more and a little extra to get into full fitness, but then he played a full game against Sparta Prague, and I think that he did well in that game. So I think that he also looks to be in a decent fitness and health condition. So he'll be ready to hopefully help us on the pitch when the season starts, because we'll have 4 games coming up the first 10 days. So we'll have to be fit and ready, everybody, to go.
Jesper Sorensen there, just chatting about Aziel Jackson and whether we actually get to see him as a starter in one of these next 2 games coming up. I think we can be pretty confident that we're going to see him at some point, whether in Costa Rica or at BC Place against RSL, maybe in both of those games. So we found a lot out about Aziel there, but of course there's one thing we have to ask him: does Aziel Jackson fancy a chocolate digestive?
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it sounds suggestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
So we do this section on the show, and we say you're not a Whitecaps player till you've done this section on the show. So if you're sitting at home and it's morning, mid-afternoon, you want to get a hot drink, do you go for a tea, a coffee, a mate, something else?
I go for if I'm with my girl, we go get, say, matcha or chai, something like this. Yeah, she loves coffee, so I don't drink coffee, but yeah.
Do you have a sweet tooth? Do you like to get a sweet treat with your matcha?
Nah, I'm not a sweet guy. I'm not a sweet tooth guy. My girlfriend is. She loves sweets. I'm not. I'll have like occasionally, but I'm not really like, say after I eat something, I don't need something sweet. I'm not that.
I wish I was that guy.
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it sounds suggestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
Another player that's body as a temple and doesn't go for the sweet treats. I understand that. But with all the matcha options that are in Vancouver at the moment, his girlfriend's going to be very happy having come over here with him. So good luck to Aziel with the Whitecaps. Hopefully we can see him off and running. When you look at his stats on Transfer Market for all the games he's played for all the clubs, 9 goals and 8 assists playing as an attacking midfielder, 6 goals and 7 assists playing as a centre forward. So we'll see where he kind of fits into the mix. He might play in some roles that he might not later on this season until we get some of these players back. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll get to see him at some point down in Costa Rica on Wednesday. And we're going to talk about that game in Costa Rica in the next part and hear from Whitecaps head coach Jesper Sorensen just about how prepared the Whitecaps are for this season to come. We'll be back with all of that after the second song this episode from our Artist of the Month.
Hey guys, I'm Aziel Jackson. I'm here in the AFTN Soccer Show.
The sad town, cold iron hands, clap the party of clowns outside. Rain falls in grey far away. Please, please, baby lemonade. In the evening, sun going down. When the earth streams in the morning, send a cage through the post, make your name like a ghost. Please, please, baby lemonade. I'm screaming, I met you this way. You're nice to me like ice. In the clock they sent through a washing machine. Come around, make it soon, so alone. Please, please, baby lemonade.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's the second song this episode from our Artist of the Month for February, Syd Barrett. And so far, we've played a lot of songs from his debut album, The Madcap Laughs. Also, in 1970, Barrett released his second and final solo album. There's been compilations and stuff come out from him since, but November 1970 saw the release of Barrett, and you've just heard the first song from that album to kick off this part, Baby Lemonade, a song about finding ways to kill time. And the phrase baby lemonade as well is Victorian slang for a small bottle of mixer. If you went into some of the Victorian bars and you asked for a baby lemonade, they'd give you a mixer bottle to put in with your whiskey, vodka, gin, whatever you were drinking at the time. Most probably gin, from what I know of Victorian times. But we'll be back with more songs from Syd Barrett in the next episode of the show and throughout the month of February. But back to the football chat now, back to the Whitecaps chat. And we're recording this show on Sunday, February 15th, to drop on Monday the 16th. And it's kind of crazy to think that the Whitecaps season not only gets underway this week, but there's 2 games. And by the end of this month, in a fortnight's time, the Whitecaps will have played 4 competitive matches. It does feel that the off-seasons are getting shorter, helped, of course, by a successful team and being in the MLS Cup. But it just makes it more difficult, really, for the team to get prepared, to get up to speed, depending what players you're bringing in as well. Are they in pre-season form? Are they in mid-season form? And we've got a kind of mix of that at the moment. But we've also had some players move on, some key attacking pieces move on, in particular in Ali Ahmed and Jayden Nelson. A slew of new additions, both in the defensive side and the attacking side, midfield help as well. We know we've still got long-term injury problems. Ryan Gold is still not good to go. Ranko Veselinovic, Samara Kugbe still trying to get back up and running. Basti Shonlo as well, coming back from the injury that he had last season. Hasn't played a minute yet for the Whitecaps first team. Bilal Halbouni recovering from the injury he suffered late on in the season as well. So it's going to be a similar chance and a similar vibe, I feel, to last season, where these early games is going to see the whole squad, the whole fit and available squad, used, getting important early minutes in these games, getting up to speed with how Jesper wants the team to play. And it really benefited the Whitecaps last year. Touched upon it in the last show, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I know it's only pre-season, and you kind of have to take the pre-season results with a little bit of a pinch of salt. But there's definitely concerns there for me for what I saw down in Marbella, particularly on the defensive side, where that defensive shape, the solidity that the team's success was really built upon last year wasn't quite there. They were struggling to pick men up in the box. They weren't getting to loose balls in the box. They seemed very susceptible to cutbacks from the byline as well. So hopefully that's something that Jesper has now worked on a little bit. They are down in Houston for a couple of days before flying into Costa Rica for Wednesday's CONCACAF Champions Cup clash with Cartagines. We'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end of this part. But let's kick things off in this part with hearing a little bit from the gaffer himself, Jesper Sorensen. Jesper had media availability on Friday. So Asa Raymond, myself, Nathan Durick and Simon Fudge were on that call. So bring you that just now, covering a range of topics on how prepared the Whitecaps are going in to this 2026 season. How does it kind of shape up to how Jesper feels this team was 12 months ago? And what about the new players and the injured players? How are they all going to fit into the mix just now? So to tell us all that, here's the gaffer.
Just want to get your assessment of the way the team performed in Marbella. The results didn't go your way, obviously, but how do you think they performed, especially comparing to last year now that this is your second camp with the club?
Yeah, it was a different starting point from last year, where I had to get to know everybody and also introduce a lot of stuff. Now we have known so the way that we want to play, and players are familiar with it, and I think we had a very good training camp. It was a little bit challenging due to some circumstances with the weather and stuff that also we had to give up at one game that was scheduled, but we couldn't play due to the weather. But I think overall it was good. We also saw that there's work to be done, and we also need to continue working. And we played 2 games the last day, and that was very important because we wanted everybody to play 90 minutes. So we go into the season with people being prepared for what's coming up.
Can you provide us a health update on some of the players who are coming back from injury and some of the players we maybe didn't see in some of those games?
Yeah, we can start with the ones we know has been unhealthy for a while. Sam, Ranko, and Ryan will be out for a while. Ryan and Ranko, we see if they can be ready to play around April. But of course, when you come back from a serious injury, also like Ranko, you have a predicted schedule, but it might vary a little bit. But he looks very good. Looks to be in good shape and looks fit. So we have to see when he'll be ready. Ryan, of course, setback, but we have to see if this will be what needed to be done to turn his corner, and hopefully he'll be ready in April. And Sam, I think, has to wait a little bit more. It's also the seriousness of the injury, how long it takes also for him to get fit, not just fit to play, but also fit to perform. So that's the most important thing. But all of them are working and progressing. And we have two players who is fit but not been with the group yet. We have Bruno and Sabali, who has not been training with us yet. Of course, very exciting that we brought them in, but we also want to see them on the pitch. But it's how it works with the paperwork they have to get done, and it when you wait for it, it's like it's forever. But all of a sudden they've been here for a month, and you forgot that it took a while. But so we just wait for them to be ready to play. But of course, it's also very interesting to see them. Then we had a couple of players that missed out on a few of the games. We had Eddie and Sabi with minor things, but they are good to go and ready to play. And then I don't know if I miss on anybody else. I think we're good, yeah.
But we didn't really get to see a lot of him. It's Sean Lau. Haven't heard a lot about him because I know he had his injury to deal with. How's he doing? How has he looked in this preseason?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question because it's obviously a player we heard more about than seen. Sean Lau has had calf injuries and calf problems. We have been very cautious trying to build him up. And now he looked good. It was not spectacular what he performed and how he played against Sparta Prague, but it was solid and was good. And it's a player with a good resume and who has been playing at a high level in Germany, and I know that he played in Hamburg and in second Bundesliga, but Hamburg is a special club when they play in second Bundesliga, and it's still a big team in German football. So I think, mentally and his quality on the ball is very strong, and it will be very exciting to see him get more and more minutes. Hopefully he will be able to sustain a good health. And that's what we work for, and make him stronger. And then I think that he'll be a player who can definitely help us and play at a high level as well.
You mentioned how quick and fast you're going to get into the season with 4 games right up. It was the same thing last year, and also getting to the final of all competitions that you're in. You're now doing 4 competitions this season, and it's a very unique schedule in the fact that BC Place is a host city for the World Cup. Have you already talked with your staff and the squad in how you're going to manage this year in terms of time, being that it is such a unique situation?
I think that planning and looking ahead is always good. You always have to have one of your eyes on the short term and the other one on the longer term. But I also been in this game for many years, knows that things change on the way and on the fly. You have to be able to make adjustments. It's very important for me that we have a solid, good roster where everybody knows, what we expect from them. And I think we saw that last year, that's the most important thing, because some of the things that you think you can plan, all of a sudden you have to do something else. And I think for me, I think it's we have a good idea of how we would like to play the season and how we would like to plan the season. It is It is a quite unique one, as you said. So we have the MLS and the CONCACAF Champions Cup in the first here in the spring. We'll start at home, and then we'll have a large break. You guys will have to not watch much live football with the Whitecaps. I expect for a longer period. Where they have to put grass on BC Place, and they have to do a lot of stuff there, and we are away for that reason. So it is a unique season, and then after the World Cup, it's going to be very hectic with the Leagues Cup, with the Canadian Championships, with the MLS Cup, MLS, and hopefully, see if we can make it to the playoffs again and do well. So I think you would like to be able to plan, and you would like to say, okay, we have to peak here, there, and at this point we have to be very good. And now, but I think that we just have to get going, and then we of course have a plan for the near, what's happening right in front of us, and also what is happening further away. And let's hope that we're able to plan well and do well.
Plans always look good on paper, don't they?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jesper.
Normally you win on paper.
Yeah.
Czech Sabali, who you've brought in. I'd just like to know a little bit more about the way you see him in the team, and what we can kind of expect from him when he gets up and running with you guys.
Yeah, it's a player who has been playing in France for most parts of his career, and he's a fast player, offensive player with 1v1 qualities, but also very good at linking up and play with relations to his teammates, and he's definitely a very interesting player. He's 26 and should be nearing his peak of his powers, if I could say so. I think that it's really a player who can play also in many different spaces. He's fast. He can play in the back space. He can also play in between the defense line and midfield line for the opponents. He can play on the winger. He can play different positions. He can play as a striker. So I think that it's a very interesting player. We're looking forward to see him as well in when he will make it to the pitch. So I think it's an exciting player that we will bring in.
During the camp, I was interested in knowing how you've seen the younger players really come along, whether it's Badwal or Alumi, but even a lot of the ones that you brought up from MLS Next Pro that you brought into camp as well. How was your overall assessment of the younger players over your time in Spain?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talent. I think there's definitely, like we saw last year. We don't even talk about the fact that Tate and Eddie are still very young. We have Kenji is still a young player. We have obviously we saw Jeevan, get more and more time last year, and he's been looking very good from the beginning of training camp here, and he's a guy we need to make sure that we help to take the next step also, because he can become a very good player. Of course, he's a big talent. We have Liam McKenzie, who was out after making his debut against Chicago last year, and then he was out with an injury. He is also progressing. So I think Ryan, as you spoke about, Ryan Lumi, is a very talented and mature young player, and he's only 18 still, and he's also a guy that we see a lot of potential in playing for us already now, but also in the future. So I think the talent is there. We have to help them. They have to help themselves to get to where they want to maximize all of their talents. And I think that we see some very good things from them, and then we help them. Then we had Mihail coming back from loan from Calgary, which did him very well. He looks he's been looking very good as well. Nicola, who also came up from the MLS Next last season, he also looks very well. They have played fullback positions. So we had Johnny who's very young, and but already now he can also make an impact in games. So I think it's just a testament to the amount of talent that we have in house, and I think that it's also up to us to make sure that we get some out of it.
He's the gaffer. You can try it on with him. He's the gaffer. Even when he's on a limb. He's the gaffer. When his back's against the wall, has the answer to it all. He's the gaffer.
The gaffer, Jesper Sorensen there, just chatting about how prepared the Whitecaps are for this season to come. How confident are you feeling for the season ahead? Zach and me kind of touched on it a little bit in the last episode of the show. But yeah, the Whitecaps just days away now from kicking off their 2026 campaign. And once again, it is going to kick off down in Costa Rica and CONCACAF Champions Cup action. The Whitecaps looking to go one better from last year, where, as we all sadly know, they had such a great run to the final and then were just dismantled by Mexican powerhouse Cruz Azul. And Cruz Azul has already kicked off their CONCACAF Champions Cup campaign. Talked about the first leg in the last show, where they were in Langley taking on CPL side Vancouver FC. Second leg was played down in Puebla in Mexico on Thursday evening. Cruz Azul not able to play that game in Mexico City. So see, it's not just the Whitecaps that this happens to, as we've spoken about before. But yeah, Vancouver FC went down for that second leg in Mexico, trailing 3-0 from the first leg. They knew it was going to be a tall order, and they got thumped 5-0. Couple of promising moments for them, but by half-time, they were already looking very tired. They looked a little bit gassed, understandably, considering you're playing a team in mid-season form and you've basically just had these two games under your belt and you're not going to be playing another competitive game for 2 months and you don't even have all your squad put together yet. With that big lead from the first leg, Cruz Azul did make some changes, and it was basically a very fringe side because it was basically all over bar the shouting. Just two players that started in Cruz Azul's 5-0 Champion Cup final win over the Whitecaps back in June started this one, but they were still very, very strong for VFC. 5-0 winners in the end, and Cruz Azul will march on now into the next round, the round of 16. And for VFC, they'll have about 10 days off, regroup, and then start pre-season all over again as they look to kick off the CPL season at the start of April. One other Canadian team in action this past week and gave a good account of themselves, Forge FC. They battled well, but ultimately, once again, Tigres were just too strong on Tuesday evening for the CPL regular season champs. Tigres run out 4-1 winners on the night, 4-1 on aggregate as well, because it was 0-0 in that first leg in Hamilton a week ago. Tigres went 2-0 up. Forge got a penalty, made it 2-1, made things interesting, seemed to just anger Tigres a little bit, and then they scored 2 more goals quickly after Forge had pulled that one back. But I think Forge can take a lot from this as well. And they will also now look to build on that, get back into pre-season ahead of the CPL that will kick off in April. The other CPL side, Atletico Ottawa, the CPL playoff champions, will be in action this week when they take on Nashville. And I saw people saying that CPL sides shouldn't be in this competition. Probably saying that about other leagues as well. The games are too easy for the big Mexican teams and the strong MLS teams. And I've just got to shake my head at that. I mean, it's exactly what these tournaments are about. You'll get the odd shockers out along the way, but that is how teams and leagues will develop and grow and get better. It's being up against this top competition, testing themselves, wanting to improve. Look at the women's game back in the day, and then look how that gap has closed as well at international level as teams have got more games, put more infrastructure, more money and development in, and just had better games, more testing games. And the games throughout CONCACAF region and the world in the women's side has grown. And in CONCACAF, I'm not going to say that the gap's ever going to close drastically between teams, say, in the CPL or the Costa Rican League and Liga MX and MLS, because you know it's not. The money difference is huge. But this is the only way that these teams will improve and get better and attract better players, is playing in these competitions. And if you're not here for that, then I don't know what to say about it, really. But of course, the game that we are all interested in will take place down in Costa Rica on Wednesday evening as the Whitecaps travel to take on Cartagines in a new team they will meet in continental competition as well. Cartagines played their 7th game of the Costa Rican Primera Division Clausura on Saturday, going down on the road to a 1-0 loss to league leaders Herediano. Top of the table clash there. The top 2 teams had been level on 13 points going into the game, but Daniel Gonzalez got a goal in the very first minute. That was the difference between the two sides, and it gave Herediano the win. Cartagines stays second in the table, 3 points back now from Herediano. And that game was Cartagines' 9th game of 2026. And that is the challenge that the MLS teams, the Whitecaps, face in this competition. They're coming from playing some games down in Marbella, games that first one was played in conditions on a waterlogged pitch that really probably shouldn't have been played. Their 3rd game didn't go ahead at all. So you're going from that and intra-squad games to taking on a team that is in the second half of their regular season and already had 9 games, 9 competitive games in league and cup action played in 2026. After a strong start to the year, where Cartagines lost just 1 game in their first 5 matches, 3 wins in there as well, incidentally. They've been in a little bit of a bumpy run. Just 1 win in the last 6 matches, 4 losses in those 6 games as well. 3 of them, though, were into the same team, Sporting FC, 2 in the cup, 1 in the league. But yeah, definitely not in the form that they were to start 2026. In league play, they've scored 6 goals and they've conceded 4 in their 7 games. So they're not scoring a lot, but they're also not conceding a lot either. And they've got 14 clean sheets in those 7 league games. In the Apertura that wrapped up in December, they only scored 19 goals over their 18 games in that. But the flip side being, they also only conceded 12. So they're a very good defensive unit. They're going to be a hard team to break down, especially at home, looking at how they've done in league play, and also the Whitecaps still trying to find their scoring chops as well. I spoke about they've not looked great defensively in the preseason games that we saw. They've also not been scoring a lot, taking their chances, creating a lot as well from the highlights that we saw. So that's a challenge now, facing Jesper's side down in Costa Rica. Cartagines' top 2 scorers for the 25-26 seasons across all competitions both have 9 goals. Both of them know MLS. But one of them is no longer at the club, so that's a big help for the Whitecaps in that. That player is Marcus Urena, who spent time in MLS with San Jose, LAFC, Chicago Fire as well. The one that is still there brings a lot of experience to the table. 37-year-old Johan Venegas, who spent time in MLS with Montreal, Minnesota, had 84 caps for Costa Rica at international level, played 3 games for the Ticos in Russia at the 2018 World Cup. Now, 5 of his 9 goals this season came in the Central American Cup, and he's only got 1 goal so far in 2026, but definitely a player Whitecaps will need to watch out for. Looking at the stats, looking at transfer market, a few Cartagines players seems to have moved on since the end of the Apertura. Some haven't played in the Clausura that were getting goals last year as well. So hard to know what to fully expect on Wednesday night, but let's hear some thoughts ahead of the game from the gaffer again, Jesper Sorensen. You started the season last year in Costa Rica. You're starting it again this year. How prepared do you feel for this game coming up on Wednesday? And what do you make of Cartagines, who right now look like they're in really good form down in the Costa Rican League?
Yeah, this sport is very, you always look at the moment and see how does the team perform. It's a team that's come off to a very good start of the league, and it's a team we can see works really hard as well, a structured and a disciplined team, and of course they will try to seize the moment and especially at the home game, the first one, they will come out and try to come out strong. I think we're well prepared for that game. We know that it's going to be difficult. We know from last year that playing in San Jose and playing in Costa Rica was difficult. There's a little bit of altitude, and also it's a different climate than what we are used to here. But I think we were prepared. At least we know a little bit more of what it's like having played there a year ago. But I think we're good to go.
So the gaffer Jesper Sorensen just chatting there about Wednesday's game in CONCACAF Champions Cup action against Cartagines down in Costa Rica. That one kicks off 7 o'clock Pacific time. You can catch the action in Canada on One Soccer, on Fox Sports, I think FS2 down in the US. If you are out with the region, or if you have a VPN, you can go to CONCACAF's YouTube channel and you'll also be able to catch the game there. And we're going to bring out a second podcast this week on Thursday, just chatting about that first leg, looking ahead to Saturday's game against RSL to kick off the MLS campaign. And we've also got an MLS season preview as well with Kickbase's Fabian Renkel. So watch for that dropping in all the usual places on Thursday. But that's it for the Whitecaps chat for this show. It's not it though for the football chat. We've got one more part to come. We'll be talking Canadian soccer at international level, bringing you our latest Canadian soccer A to Z as well. And we'll be back with all of that after the latest song as we pay tribute to NME's C86 cassette.
Hi, I'm Brian White, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Exclamation, 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 mark.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's track 7 on the iconic Enemy C86 cassette. And it's a song that will be very well known to long-time listeners of the podcast, Buffalo by Anglo-Irish band Stump, a song which we feature as the outro in our Fish and Chips segment, a song that Steve Pander's kids loved so much they would sing it in the car. And if you haven't been with us earlier this year, we're paying tribute to that iconic cassette that was released in May 1986 by New Musical Express, the equally iconic music magazine from the UK. It's the 40th anniversary. We're going to be playing all 22 tracks over the course of the year, and then for the rest of the year, playing other songs from the C86 period and bands. But the band you heard there were Stump, very quirky 4-piece Anglo-Irish band led by Mick Lynch. They're a very unique vocal style. And Lynch was one of the many Cork musicians that exploded onto the UK indie scene in the late 80s and early 90s, alongside the likes of Sultans of Ping, Frank and Walters, two bands I absolutely adore. Sadly, Mick Lynch died of cancer back in 2015, aged just 56. Stump released 2 albums in total. 1986's 6-track mini-album Quirk Out, which featured that song Buffalo, and the 1988 critically acclaimed, but not big selling, A Fierce Pancake. Have both of those been spinning those this week. I loved their unique sound, some very groundbreaking songs in their albums as well. I think I will feature Stump, or at least one of their albums, as a album/artist of the month as the year goes on as well. They released 5 singles in their time, their last of which was the release of the song that you just heard to kick off this part, Buffalo, back in 1988, after they'd signed with major label Chrysalis Records. But highly recommend checking out both their albums and also their single, Charlton Heston, which was a bit of a minor hit for them as well. Excellent song, features the lyric, Charlton Heston put his vest on. Yeah, don't write songs like that anymore. While we're talking though of C86, so as I mentioned, we'll be kicking off the last part of every show this year with a song from the C86 period. And there was a book written about that era back in 2022 by English author Nige Tassel, called Whatever Happened to the C86 Kids, an Indie Odyssey. And I wanted to get it for a while. I wanted to get it at the time. It was out in hardback, came out in 2023 in paperback. And I was going to get it the last time I was back in the UK, but I thought I've got so many books to catch up on right now that I've bought and not read. We are talking a lot that I've got piled up in my spare room to get around to at some point. But as I thought, since we're paying tribute to the C86 cassette, this felt like the perfect time to get it. So bought it. It arrived on Friday. I've already read some of it. It's split into 22 chapters, one on each band. So I'm going to read about the band that's going to be featuring in the next show every week in the build-up to it. Highly recommend it from what I've read so far around the first 7 bands, the latest of which they're Stump. Nice Tassel also has a couple of football books on the market. I've got The Bottom Corner by him, one of my particular favourites, where Tassel spends a season in the world of English non-league football. So I'm going to reach out to Nige as well to get him on the show for the 40th anniversary of the cassette in May, as we still want to do this book club section on the show that we haven't got round to. Got a few authors lined up, had a few authors get in touch that's got football books either just come out or about to come out, so we'll get them on the show. We will get this book club section going, but let's get away from books, away from music, back talking football and football history as we bring you the latest instalment of AFTN's Canadian Soccer A to Z. with it being a special World Cup year here in Canada, I want to honour all things Canadian soccer. The plan is we'll have this section as the intro for the majority of the shows this year. Obviously, it got pushed back a little bit because of Hot Chocolate Boy, but now that that's done and dusted, this will be the segment that will continue to kick off the shows as it did in January. We're up to the letter G this week. And Zach, it's your turn to go first.
So coming in at G for me, Michael, I went with just gold. I think thinking of Gold Cup, which we've referenced before in the list, where Canada won in 2000 for the men, and then obviously the women won the gold medal, and was it 2021, technically the 2020 Olympics, and then 1904?
Yes.
1904 Olympic winning side, which is an awkward tournament. There was only 3 teams or whatever. Was it 3 teams?
There was 3 teams. We might come to that in a sec.
3 teams in Canada won the gold. So for me, G is a quick and easy gold. Yeah.
Well, let's get to my G, which ties in a little bit with yours. For me, there was only one entry that it could be for G, and that is Galt FC. Now, some of you will know the name Galt FC. Founded in 1881, Galt FC from Galt in Ontario, which later became the city of Cambridge in Ontario. I mean, for me, I think they maybe deserve their place in Canadian soccer history more than any other club. Not because they won 3 straight Ontario Cups in 1901, 1902 and 1903, had success in the Western Soccer League before that, but because they won the 1904 Olympic Games soccer tournament for Canada in St. Louis, Missouri. And how fitting is it that we get to talk about them on the show when there's an Olympic Games happening right now? I mean, I think it's perfect that G came up for this. So Galt FC represented Canada and had to face 2 American sides in the 1904 Olympics. Christian Parish College, who they beat 7-0, and then St. Rose Parish, who they beat 4-0. Taking home gold for Canada. And this was the first time that gold medals were handed out at the Olympics. There's might be 2 other Canadian teams taking part in the tournament, but they pulled out. So that left Galt FC in the 3-team tournament. On the men's side, no other Canadian men's team has won an Olympic medal, never mind a gold. We all know, of course, about the women's historic gold medal and bronze medals as well. But Galt FC kind of paved the way for Canadian soccer. And it's crazy to think, if you look at a list of Olympic gold medal champions, Canada is there in 1904. And you can say what you want, 3-team tournament, whatever, but they did it, they won it, they made history. And I stand by, they deserve their place in Canadian soccer history more than any other club. Which is surprising then that they were only conducted into the Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame in 2004. They dissolved in 1910, but their name does live on with a new youth club that was formed in 2019. And if you watch Murdoch Mysteries, there's a fun episode about Inspector Brackenreed going to coach the team at the Olympics. It's a really good episode. Go and check it out. It's from 2016, Season 10, Episode 6, Bend It Like Brackenreed. So that's my entry for G. So what about some notable mentions? You got any for G?
Well, you and I think I joked about this with you earlier. But I mean, when I think of G's and I think of players, I think of, even though he's not Canadian, I think of Gershon Kofi for his time in Canada. I think of someone
I do him as a K, though.
Yeah, that's true, too. I also think of Ali Gerba, who played for the national team. I'm trying to think who else was there on my list. Sorry, the biggest one and the closest one to me for maybe should be more than honorable mention is Vanessa Gilles, who I think is the.
But she's still getting.
Yeah,
there.
to me she's the, I think in some ways the current heart of the women's national team.
Yeah.
She's so great. Obviously, as a defender, she's great going forward, particularly on set plays. Saw her back in the lineup for Bayern. Was it earlier this week in the Cup? She played in one of Bayern's games within the last 8 days or so, and they've had I think 3 of the women. She's awesome.
I mean, my honourable mention for G is I'm just going to say greats of the game. Just because in Canada, we've had so many world famous players that have played here, and we'll have some more, I'm sure, at the World Cup this summer as well. If you look at the NASL era, Pele, Beckenbauer, Cruyff, George Best, so many others.
Eusebio, we talked about.
Eusebio, Puskás has played in Canada. MLS era, obviously, we've got Messi now that has played in Canada. You've had like Schweinsteiger, Pirlo, the guys,
Henry,
Rooney, Henry. There's been so many greats of the game that we've been very fortunate to see play teams here in Canada. And I look back at the players from the NASL era that played here, and so envious that folk got to see like Pele in their backyard, or Beckenbauer, or Cruyff, and like in years to come, folk will be like, "Oh wow, you were at BC Place when Messi played there," and maybe Ronaldo will end up at some point. But like even a player like Son, who's a world class player, there's going to be folk like, "Oh, you got to see Son play," and we've got James Rodriguez that's going to be playing now.
That's such a weird one. That I don't know about that.
I mean, how Minnesota got that done? Fair play to them.
But it does
not even on a designated player basis.
He's not a Minnesota player. Like I mean, I know it's not the old Minnesota under Adrian Heath, but still, he's a guy with incredible amount of talent, but has never been able to actually sustain it at the high level at club. He's had some huge tournaments. He's got like bags of skill, but I mean, he was on loan for, was it 2 years? Yeah, it was 2 years. He was on loan for 2 years at Bayern, and he was not that he wasn't good enough talent wise. It was almost like he wasn't good enough mentality wise. And I don't see that fitting in at Minnesota as a community, as the culture there. Now, if he goes out and scores a whole bunch of goals, then people might not care or whatever.
Yeah, and the Colombian fans are going to flock to see him.
Yeah, of course. Wherever he plays, that was going to be the case. But yeah, it's a weird one. To me, that one's a really, really weird one.
The short-term loan thing as well. I know we've just spoke to Aziel Jackson and we've got him in a 6-month loan, but that's a different kind of thing altogether. It's like these are clubs just like bringing in special players for a couple of months, and but yeah, my G was greats of the game. There's been many play in Canada over the years, and I'm sure there will be many more. So we'll continue talking Canadian soccer just to round this part off. And I still hope that Galt team from 1904 isn't going to be the only time that we talk that Canada has won an Olympics or won a World Cup. They certainly won't be winning the 2026 FIFA Under-17 Men's World Cup, because they're not even going to be there after Canada's under-17 team crashed out of CONCACAF qualifying this past week. After beating the Cayman Islands and Aruba, they went into their last group game against Jamaica needing a win. They were tied on points with Jamaica, but Jamaica had the better goal difference, so a draw would send the Jamaicans through. In the end, it was all moot because Canada were outmuscled, outplayed, outshot, and lost 3-1 to the Jamaicans, finishing the game in the end with 10 men. So So disappointing. For CONCACAF to be sending 8 teams to the World Cup now, a 48-team World Cup, and Canada is not one of those 8 teams. I mean, it's disgraceful, it's scandalous, and some serious questions need to be asked about youth development in this country once again. Haiti and Cuba, with their limited resources and all the political chaos that's going on there, they've managed to qualify alongside Jamaica, the US, Mexico, Costa Rica, Honduras, and Panama. I mean, it's absolutely shocking, really.
Yeah, I think shocking is a good way to put it. And this is one of the things that came through really clearly, especially at the kind of fundraiser gathering, whatever that I went to, when Jesse Marsh was at, when he talked about how far behind we are as a footballing nation, and infrastructure plays a role in that, but also just where things are at with our youth teams. And he deeply cares about changing that for Canada. So this will be frustrating to him and Kevin Blue and the rest of those involved with the CSA. And this is something that needs to be significantly worked on and altered. We cannot be coming ninth behind clubs behind countries like that. Like we cannot. We are not that bad in a footballing sense, and I think it's some of the things we're doing that need to be adjusted and altered in order to make sure we maximize the development and also the results of our youth sides.
The thing is, like, it's an expanded World Cup, and it's every year now. And we spoke about it. It's like, oh, this is great for Canada. We can get these guys tested at the high level.
We did say that.
48 teams, 8 go from CONCACAF. Not for 1 minute did I envisage that Canada would not be one of 8 teams from this region that is going to a World Cup. And I mean, there's so many questions. This is for a future podcast, getting a few people on talking about this as to just where it's going wrong. And people have pointed to things for years as to where it's going wrong. And a lot of the times, the U17s has got to World Cup and not won a game. And it looked like we'd maybe turned a corner in last year's World Cup because we got through the group. A country that I hold up a lot is Uzbekistan. And we've spoken about them on the show before with this. They invested heavily in their youth development. U17, U20 level, and they're reaping the rewards for that. They're now at this Senior World Cup for the first time, and their teams have done well at the Youth World Cups over the years. And you look at the Canadian roster for this, and a lot of folk were saying, oh, it's because all the MLS academies and they're not developing players properly. The bulk of this roster were players that were playing in overseas academies. And we've got young guys going overseas now, and they are going to get better development over there. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be getting playing time over there. We've spoken to players that's gone over to Europe at a young age, and they've spoken about they know that they're fighting when they go over there against locals that don't want you here because you're the outsider that's come in.
To take their job,
yeah, you're trying to take their jobs.
My one question for you is this an age group that Grady McDonald still would have been eligible for?
Oh, that's a good question. I think he was still playing with U17 with Ireland.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's made the right decision.
But there's one gap, right? That's one significant player of quality, especially at age group that
But I kept made a difference. Told, like the Whitecaps U15s and the Whitecaps U16s were like some of the best talent that the Whitecaps have produced at academy level for years, and only 2 of them made this roster. Tyler Brown, who was the MLS Next Player of the Year for all of North America, and he wasn't getting starts. He was coming off the bench. And Sam Rogers, the goalkeeper, who was spoken about on the show before.
Yeah.
Great prospect.
Good kid.
And he didn't get on the field. He was the backup keeper. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that would have helped us win or whatever, but you look at the last game against Jamaica, and Jamaica just, they out-muscled us. They were clinical in front of goal, and we just weren't taking our chances. And there was a new deal announced this week. They've kind of ripped up the CSB, Canadian Soccer Business deal with Canada Soccer. CSB has been rebranded now. It's Canadian Soccer Media and Entertainment. And there's a new deal being signed, which again is something that we'll do in another show, because there's a lot to unpack from this, and I haven't had time to really read it all properly. And I've had some conversations with people.
Yeah.
And the people I've had conversations with are very excited about what it means. And how it was put to me is the money now is trickling from the top down. So we're investing more at the top levels, going down to youth level, as opposed to the youth levels calling the shots of where the money should go, paying for a lot of staff at youth clubs, technical directors, coaches galore, getting money from the local organisations, to the detriment of the national teams that we've spoken about, all the stuff in the recent years where they're like, we haven't got money for training camps, for referee development. So this should be changing some of this now. But I don't quite get what this will then mean for actual youth development.
Yeah, that's a bigger, interesting conversation that we definitely need to have. We need to do, I need to come to grips with some of it, because I don't think that I fully understand all of it yet.
Yeah.
I've heard different things from different places and different people. But yeah, like I said, there is this massive desire to change how we develop players in this country, and for us to improve at it, and when that's needed. So my initial thoughts on this are like, whatever takes us in, helps us take steps in that right direction. I'm all for. And it's interesting to me that this deal is now we have it's now 11 years. It's like, is it 2037?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, there's a lot to unpack, and we've spoken, like, we're going to be getting James Johnson on the show. We've just not been able to get things set up with him yet, but he is going to come on and talk about stuff. So now we've got this to talk about as well.
Mm-hmm.
But all this rebranding and the new deal had to get done. I am curious what it's going to mean to, like, the CPL, to the NSL. Is it one of the questions which I'm not 100% sure on this. So Greg Petrie raised this as a question about the deal. And it was about the revenue sharing. And I took it when I read it that all revenue earned by CSME was going to be what was getting funneled down. But other people think it's just the revenue that's earned by the national teams. But I think it's all the revenue that's earned by it. So from youth level, provincial level, and everything upwards. So, I mean, that's something that we need
to get clarification on that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see where that goes. But youth development, I know I have a lot of talks with Colin Elms at TSS Rovers over the years about this. He likes this deal, and he thinks it's good for youth development, and he's someone that's been pushing very much for this kind of thing. So we'll see where it takes us. We know the men's not going to the World Cup. Hopefully the women will be. The draw for the women's tournament is going to be on February 18th. It's played in Costa Rica from March 17th to 22nd. Only 4 spots up for grabs in the Women's World Cup in Morocco because it's not as expanded. So fingers crossed that we at least have one team to cheer on at a Youth World Cup this year.
If I had all the money in the world, I'd go down to watch that, hang out, connect with friends.
Yeah. But that's it for the football chat for this show. It's been another long one, another jam-packed one. But we're going to finish, as we always do, with this episode's Wavelength. Wavelength is the part of the show where we play a song all about football or with the background of football. And up until mid-July, aside from March, which is, of course, our special Football Violence Awareness Month, we're going to be playing songs for the World Cup, about the World Cup, or around the World Cup. And I'm still hoping there's going to be a lot of new World Cup singles coming out in the coming weeks and months. And with Scotland and England being there, and with most of the World Cup songs kind of coming from those countries over the years, I think there's going to be a big flux of new stuff for us to play. But for this episode, we're going back to 2014. Although it's actually a cover version of a World Cup song from 1990. New Order's classic World in Motion. That was released in 1990 ahead of the World Cup in Italy, and for me is one of the best World Cup songs out there, right up there, I think, with the Scotland 1982 one, We Have a Dream. Nothing's ever going to come close to that. And even though it's an English song, got to acknowledge it's such a classic. Features the England national team and some rapping by John Barnes. Now, some of you will be familiar with that song, and I might actually play the original 1990 version in the next episode. But for this episode, we're playing a cover version of it from a one-man punk band from Leeds, going under the band name Running for Drugs. This is his version of World in Motion for the 2014 World Cup. Running for Drugs, A World in Motion, a 2014 World Cup single, and a very different interpretation of the 1990 New Order classic, which I think I will dig out for the next show. Hope you enjoyed that version of it. You can see how it compares if you've not been familiar with either of those songs. But that is it for Wavelength, and that is it pretty much for the show now, Zach, as well. Just before we go, any final thoughts from you, any shout-outs that you want to give, or anything that's caught your eye this past week?
Shout out to those who went down to Mexico for the Vancouver FC away leg. There was about a dozen fanatics down there. And all the best to those who are going to watch the Whitecaps take on Cartago in Costa Rica. Have a great time. Enjoy it. Enjoy the match, the food, whatever cultural stuff you can get up to while you're there. Yeah, just have a wonderful, safe, enjoyable time.
And hopefully the food is better for the Whitecaps than it was in Mexico.
Yeah, I don't think they'll have that issue there.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, anyone that's going, very envious. Anyone that's going, actually, get in touch. We'd love to chat to you about what your experience was like. So we'd like to do that in a future show. As I mentioned, we're going to be back with a second podcast later this week. Fabian Renkel is one of the guys we're going to have on to do an MLS preview. We'll look back at the Cartagines game as well. But look forward to this game on Wednesday. The 2026 season gets underway for the Whitecaps. Will it be as exciting as 2025? Could it even be better? We'll find out soon. Until next time, as always, thanks for listening. Take care. And Mon the Caps.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
AFTN